setup that takes him a while to walk from computer to camera.
Yes.
Don't
oh my
mind.
goodness. Hello, everybody.
We back, baby. Where do the alerts come through?
Over there.
Loud enough for us to hear him?
No. Can you?
It actually should. The volume should be
I
up
heard
right now.
something.
It's the dog.
It's the dog crying. Good job, kid.
The dog being sad. All right, hey everybody. I'm Saul Rose. These are my friends. Welcome back to our continuing game of Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition. How's everybody doing today? Doing good? Good. I think we have some people that want to announce some things prior to, which will give me time to, find the chat.
Get your stuff together and bring the chat up. Hey, so I have started streaming, and it's a regular thing. I have a YouTube channel. Username is Manic Mouthpiece, just like it sounds, one word. And if you head over to my Twitch channel, you will see all the stuff that I do, and you can watch me. And I stream at random weird days, so don't count on me being there. Usually Sunday, but I typically do long streams, so I do like 8 hours plus. I just did a 13-hour stream on Sunday. That was fun for Labor Day. I just decided to go and go and go and go and go. And I've been playing Stardew Valley, and so expect me to play more Stardew Valley. I hear you talking over there. So expect more Stardew Valley because I'm addicted to that game. It's so easy to be addicted. It's like Animal Crossing, but slightly respectable.
I just started playing Animal Crossing again.
It's better than Animal Crossing. But I have a ton of other games I want to play too. I have Just Cause, all of them. Not all of them. 1, 2, and 3. That's all of them. 4 comes out in a month or something. So I plan on playing those. I've got a ton of stuff. Super Meat Boy, If I Hate Myself, Factorio, if we're nerds, and either depending on how my work schedule works out, because I get weird days off. I may have the 13th off, and if I have the 13th, I'll start it then, but probably the 14th, and it'll definitely lead through to the 14th. I am planning on doing a 24-hour stream. So if you have any time on that weekend, come by and say hello. And that's what I'm planning to do. But look for more streams from me because I'm having a blast. And I upload everything except for the first stream to my YouTube because the first stream had doubled audio and fuck that. But I fixed that problem and made it sound 100 times better. So yeah, come check me out. I stream now with my God machine.
That's the thing.
Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, we're talking about that Momo game that's killing people. Well, that's encouraging people to end their lives.
That.
Positively. So, all right.
But that's cool. Big.
24-hour stream. I'm excited. I'm excited for you.
Every time we start, you're like, let's talk about Stardew Valley. I'm like, fuck, man, I want to play Stardew Valley.
It's so much fun. You just lose your time, and then by the end of the day, you're mad because you didn't do the things you wanted to do. But you got some good shit done. It's a thing. It's a never-ending cycle.
All right. So, anybody else got any announcements? You guys over there? This table? Right table? Left table?
No, we're not doing anything with our lives.
Good. That's
Moved.
positive. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you did move. How's that? Nice.
Oh, you moved.
As you can tell, so did we.
Nice. That's killer.
Technically, it would have been a day.
Oh yeah.
Why are they lying?
I was supposed to sign some paperwork at like 9 and then 10 and then 11, so I ended up missing like 4 hours of work.
Nice.
It's really upsetting.
Yeah, they don't care about you. But that's just the housing market. That's not them particularly.
That's
My landlord lives in China and can't be arsed to get off her ass and no, she's in China. Her name, well, I won't say her name is straight, but her stupid stereotypical name is hilarious. It's really bad. I have to write checks out to it every month. But she lives in China and she literally can't be bothered to get off her ass and write us a new lease. So technically we're living month to month right now for since February. Cause she can't be bothered to go, yeah, give them 2 years. It's really annoying. But she doesn't ever bother us because, again, she lives in China. So, that's neat.
Ni hao.
Mm-hmm.
We're comfortable here.
fair enough.
Just took a sip of beer, man. Killing me.
Like Momo.
Oh Jesus. Yep, that thing's gonna give me
That's your
nightmares
thing
later.
to eat.
So, announcements for us. We had a very, very successful game of Monster Hunter World. We played
For the
for.
first time.
I felt bad because there was we had people in chat and we were. I was just too lasered in on playing.
Yeah,
we were
focused.
there was calls going out. It was some old school raid shit.
I watched it, and then I went off to stream on my own, too.
We,
Streamed for about 2.5 hours that night.
It's a beast.
Shortest stream I've
It
ever
goes,
done.
Sleeping, paralyzed. I need to go back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw you dip 3 times for ammo.
All right, mounting. Yeah, back in. It was good though. It was a good run. I'm surprised it only took us 2 tries. I honestly thought it was gonna take more than that, but we did quite impressively, I think.
Well, it would have been. No, it took us 3 tries because fucking.
Oh, we had dual blades. Oh yeah, that was. He died within like the first like couple seconds, and I was like, oh okay, should we even try to continue?
You guys get to do Bro Brigade.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that was. We had our first. We lost a man.
Oh no!
We went into the run. I got to the monster, and I was like, I'm gonna jump on it, and then the guy died, and I was like, I'm not.
Me and him landed and started running.
Created a list of people that we failed. It's gonna be our wall of remembrance.
Wall of shame.
There's gonna be.
It's like the video. It's just.
In the arms of an angel. We should get the. It's like the fucking. You know, now I'm gonna like commission somebody to do an art piece of our 3 characters, like with their hands on like a black wall. You know, slowly adding names to the list, and it's just like.
Well, you literally just take the picture of one of the memorials that are like that, and then just terribly paint in
Yes,
the
Start
I
the
was stuck
characters.
for you guys. BB screenshots of your characters.
When I care, I do some cool stuff in GIMP. Have you seen my BRB screen?
No, but I saw your
proud of
fucking.
it,
I saw your buttons, which have made me mad because they're better than my buttons.
Oh, my hotkeys are baller. They're about to get better too. I gotta spend some time on them, and I also need a goodbye screen, like the end of the thing. I was thinking I'd put myself in a Punch and Judy puppet show. Edit it up so that I can put the puppet house on the first layer and then the background on the 3rd layer and me on the 2nd layer in between, so I have the curtains and everything, and do a thing so it goes and closes the curtains.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, I like it.
I need to get some outro music and figure out how the fuck to play that. As far as I can gather, I just make a VLC file and then double click it off to the side.
I mean, essentially. All right. So with that being said, I think that's everything. I think that's everything. Anybody else? Last minutes? Let's go ahead and jump right into it. So, let's D and Dizzle. Last time we were here, you guys had just returned to the city of Alavra. You guys were teleported in with the assistance of Mr. Edmund, the Intro to Magic teacher at the Athenaeum.
That's right.
And you guys exited out. You guys did some errand running around town. You checked in with
A bunch of people.
yeah, you checked in with a bunch of people, including the potion master, whose name I can't remember for some reason. Theo. Holy hell! It's been so long I forgot all the character names. You checked in with Theo, Lucrezia, and the rest of the guys. You guys went to the Adventurers Guild to check out what was going on there.
And
Collect the reward. You did not make it back in time because you told them you were going to go do that, and then you never went back.
God damn it.
You guys did your
That's
you guys did your sparring session, and then you began to collect information from the locals at the docks, trying to figure out if there was anything. I believe specifically you looked for. Let me see if I have it in my notes here.
I have people that
Might have been in town for that long.
long.
Oh, that's right. You're talking about the old sailors and stuff, trying to find out history.
Yeah, I got the name of the old king, his wife, the chancellor, Graybon, and then the high constable left his job after the incident.
Yes, the previous high constable. Yes, left his job. At the end of the session, we had everyone retiring to their rooms in the mysterious chimney. Except for you, you were still on the docks. So, is there anything else before we start the next day, or are you going to stay there for the remainder?
we're coming back
Or
on
no,
the
you went to the Laughing Pirate.
Yeah.
We're coming back on the same day, right?
Yes.
The next. Okay.
The next
We're not a
morning.
week ahead.
No.
Thank you.
One afternoon.
One visit.
So that is where we jump in. The morning comes to relatively peacefully. I mean, I would imagine that at least on your end, you're woken up to the rabble-rousing people funneling out of the Laughing Pirate, but also this is right next to the port district, so everybody that is going to work, you know, they'll be laughing and talking for the morning. Yeah, they're heading into the port. You hear all manner of loud calls, not buffeted by the large stone wall that makes up the backdrop of this tavern. So, what is your plan for the morning?
For the early morning,
Yep.
I'm gonna go outside, take Marvelius and my other longsword and try practice
fighting with both of them.
Yeah.
Okay. And not clanging them together. Okay.
Or cutting off part of his face.
Or cutting off parts of my clothing, or parts of the duck.
Oh, I'm
Wait,
going
are
to
you gonna sleep in the street or in your room?
I figured I'd part of the dock that wasn't being used.
Street before.
You head out to the. You have like a
Tai Chi morning.
yeah, like a Tai Chi morning. A very go out to the dock. It's empty, and then you just
Yeah. That sunrise.
like okay.
Until I hear and just chunk of chain flies off.
Make a just a straight dexterity check. We'll see just how like nimble, how flourishy, I guess.
11.
11. Yeah, easy enough. You're there's a couple little moments you get like little little like nicks in the clothing, but ultimately nothing too crazy. You have to stop yourself occasionally as you're like, hopefully that doesn't go through my arm. And occasionally you check, you do the when like you're like putting in a razor or something, you're like, did I cut myself? Okay. But yeah, so you spend your morning doing that.
Well, everything's
I can see all your plans.
All my plans?
Yeah.
They're pretty good, aren't they?
It's a marker.
Take that. Oh, yeah, that works.
And
Yeah.
then afterwards, I'll head to the Adventurers Guild.
I am actually going to head to the docks.
So you see a number of people stop and watch for a minute. Huh. And they keep going.
You walk away.
Like one or two guys are like, "Hey, somebody gonna get that kid with the swords? It's kind of freaky, right? Should be. I mean, he's good, but should he be fucking with those right now?" But
Sell him?
they keep going. A couple of people kind of get close, and then they see the beard, and they're like, and they walk away awkwardly, like, "No, I'm just coming out here to stretch or something," and they leave.
I'm gonna tell that.
Oh, that's a man. That is an adult. He's just really short. One guy, like spits off the side of the dock. I was just spitting, and then he leaves. It's a little distracting. What the hell? But yeah, so pan over to the remainder of you guys, the three of you, resting inside the mysterious chimney. You guys awake? It's relatively quiet this morning, especially considering this isn't like the main thoroughfare. Further off, as you begin to gather your things and head downstairs, there's really a skeleton crew left this morning. A couple of the young maids, barmaids, are kind of moving back and forth, just cleaning up for the most part. It's empty this time, and you don't see any sign of the proprietor. Probably left or stayed late, but everything seems to be in full swing. No one seems to be too crazy. You guys come down. I'm assuming you grab some food.
Be gone and go to the port.
Okay. You pop down the stairs, just exit out and head outside. You guys
Grab some food.
So making our way to the Adventurers Guild.
grab some chicken legs or something. They're like, we were making eggs. Now we're gonna stop and
meat
make
on
chicken.
bone.
How much
Right.
do we pay for this place? We're gonna grab a fucking turkey leg.
Fair enough. You just get
It's
one
like
of those like,
$8. Actually, they're $12 now.
yo, bro, you want a dinosaur leg?
Just like,
Yeah, fucking
No, can I get that traditional meat on the bone thing?
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
I need to see both ends of the bone, and it better be pearly white.
Can it just be meat?
Right? How does it always? That doesn't
Right?
make sense. Doesn't
Cook
even,
it with a blowtorch.
yeah. So you guys grab some muffins. I guess would probably be the closest thing to hand food that
Bread.
you can take with you. Yeah, a sort of bread. Probably actually more like a sweet bread that you would be grabbing. There's that sugar to it.
Sweet meat, by the way.
Huh?
Sweet meat. A sweet bread is a meat product that is created usually using the brain of an animal. Sweet bread.
Perfect.
But sweet meat is a bun that is a sweeter version of a bread bun.
Well, then that's confusing.
I don't know why it works that way, but that's a thing.
It's like having two on buttons and two off buttons for the same object.
Yes. Well, it depends. Are they Zand on buttons or are they Zora on buttons?
I don't want to go into it. I got mad yesterday about buttons.
If you want to talk to Fate about logic gates, he'll be more than happy.
Let's talk about logic gates.
All right.
Talk about the logical idea behind putting two on buttons and
So
two
the
off
reason you
buttons.
put two on buttons on something is to access it from two different points.
No.
And you would have Zand or Zora on
They
gates.
both do the same thing.
Yes.
I'm talking about like, what if you had two
So-
light switches for that light?
Okay, so
But they were
that
next
would
to each
be-
other.
That would be a 3-pole light switch.
I don't-
They exist.
I don't
We have them.
get it.
There are two in my house.
I don't want them.
So
I
now
hate
here's the question:
They're
when
horrible.
one switch is on and you turn the other switch, what happens?
It turns off.
It turns off. That means it's a Zor game.
I
So
hate
it
it.
means that that both switches activate independently. I have one of those at work as well. Two of those
I
at work.
hate it. It doesn't make sense to me.
Or you have a Zan game where if you turn one on and then you fuck with the other one, nothing happens. But if you turn the other one on and turn the first one off, the light remains on.
Yeah, I hate it. Anyway, so
How you can't say to the Theta voice even when you're like, I have one at work. I'm like, where does Theta work?
where does it work? And
It works in the streets.
He does some
In the mean streets of Batella.
Wait.
Never you forget it. I have an exploding axe. And I have
Yeah.
yet to use it on a fleshy thing, and I'm very curious.
Um,
Don't attempt.
So you guys pop out and you guys begin heading down the pathway to the Adventurers Guild.
No one will miss.
Out of everyone that's maneuvering around, you two would arrive first. So you guys cross down. A couple people pass you on the way. A couple people dressed adventure-y like in sort of leathers or patchwork mail armor.
That's backwards on those. Zand is if you flip them. And then independently. Zor is on, off, stays on, turns off, turns on,
Don't
stays on, stays on.
Don't like any of those things. Don't like it.
My bad. I'm just trying not to spread this information.
I don't want to lie to people.
I don't.
Um,
think
you-
someone would do that? Go on the internet and tell lies.
No, why
There
not?
are websites that can do it.
So you guys, as you arrive, you find the building is currently open. The door is pinned open as it always is. And as you walk inside, you follow that long wall along by the posting, the job posting. The fire currently is going. It seems to be in a low sort of probably remnants from either the night before or they've just started the coals from this morning. Currently behind the counter is Bamira. She's currently working, seemingly tidying up, getting her files organized, pulling out her tomes and stuff and getting them all situated, the little sign-in sheets and stuff. And as you approach,
Bimera,
yes.
I apologize for not returning yesterday. We had to make arrangements to carry all of this.
Yes. Do you have something to?
Sort of.
Uh-huh.
We're gonna need a part of it and then go get the thing and then come back and get the rest of it.
Okay. How much do you need?
1,000.
Yeah, it was 1,000.
Do it. Yeah, 1,000. Because we can check around or something.
Yes. So we need 1,500.
Okay. She makes a note of it. She writes it down basically on your little on her ledger, and then she has you sign it. And she walks into the back and grabs a couple satchels, and she kind of like sets it down, and she's like, "I think that's
Close enough.
1,000." And then she just waits there. She signs off on it basically, and then corrects the new amount that you'll be expecting,
Alright, and then I hand that to you.
which I think is how much are you expecting? 21,000, right?
So that sounds right. Yeah.
Okay.
Would a bag of like colding, like a cold bag that can keep things cold, would that benefit the whole party?
A bag of colding.
Or no?
So much.
Keep that little gem close to the vest. Bag of colding.
Well, because I already asked about.
It's called an igloo. It has handles.
Don't know.
Right.
Because the reason I was thinking about getting one made is because we keep getting stuff from, they keep asking for custom parts of things. So if we're going to travel distances, we put the things in there to keep them fresh. Or like eggs and stuff or
Well,
whatever.
generally,
Eggs?
if
No.
we're taking
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. I thought you meant like a dozen eggs. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I just need this.
Like groceries.
if
Dozen
we're taking
pockets of
eggs, we're not going to want to freeze them because we're going to want them fertilized so that they can be hatched,
Giggity.
raised, or bred, or however. And for monster parts, generally, we're going to be taking bones or
They don't
hair.
like tails and stuff.
Even then, being a tail,
Well,
ultimately a tail.
I'm going to get one made regardless, but I'm just wondering if it's something like the party.
I don't think
Because
so.
it's like 1,500, 2,000.
You know, I say that, but it could very well be incredibly important. Imperative. Could end up being imperative, so we'll go for it. But before that, here's 1,000. Bag of holding, please.
Do it, maybe. Sorry.
Well, yeah, you're younger and inspired than I am. You can run out,
Oh, yeah. I can
You got them good legs.
we
and I'll wait here with the mirror.
We need my house.
Not her.
There
Okay, so you head out and you head to Realm of Enchantment.
I will dash.
Okay, it's
Kidding.
fine. She just
That's fine.
sprints out of the store like a courier. All right, so you head to the port.
I do.
You obviously would be there. You'd be the next one. So you head out towards the port. You cross over the market district, which is already kind of alive. People are opening up shops. People are shopping. People are carrying goods from place to place.
Keep an eye out for ice cream.
Okay.
Always.
Nothing immediately
I was
strikes out to you.
I was hoping you were like, oh, and then because I would get
Somebody did.
sidetracked in a hot second.
You only got one eye for it.
That's right.
And
Right.
everything else. Gets what his attention.
So you head towards the.
Monocular focus.
You're like Sonic the Hedgehog and you have two
Cyclopic.
things in one eye.
Cycloptic. That's what this is.
Danky King.
What is cyclopic? What that word means. At me. So I am going to go down to the port and I'm going to attempt on something I rarely do. I'm
What's
going
that?
to lie.
Okay.
I would like to, I'm going to go down and I'm going to observe for a minute and just take a look-see. And I'm going to look around, I'm going to try and find a vessel that looks like it's used for trading, one that leaves the port relatively regularly and probably comes back. Somebody that, goes around.
Mm-hmm.
My arm!
Blunk.
I don't know, I'll look for somebody like that.
Okay. Go ahead and make a perception check, please.
Percept me, baby!
You found it.
It's not great, but my perception's baller, so a little 12.
12. Yeah, easy enough. As you look around, as you cross the street of Market and you go into the sort of like back area housing, you follow the main pathway. There's a number of people all heading into work. People have like satchels on that they're kind of carrying, probably like whatever, like clothes and stuff that they need to carry onto the ships.
Let's see right.
Yeah. And as they,
Ditty bag, that's what it's called.
as they, did you say Diddy?
Ditty,
Okay.
D-I-T-T-Y.
Is either that or dinghy? My brain didn't
Ditty
process
bag,
everything.
yeah.
Mayberg.
It's my dinghy bag for my dinghy boats. You walk through the double port sort of like portal, the gates that make up this this dividing wall, and as you do, you see that this area is currently like way busier than the previous one. The port's open much earlier than the actual market and stuff does. So people are currently loading things into buildings, unloading things from like large warehouses towards the ships, and this area is actually the prime unloading area. So this whole area is all shipping, and it extends all the way down quite a ways on your right, and all the way up to where the naval base is, all the way to the north end of the port. So yeah, walking up to the edges, and you start to get to the wooden sort of planks and docks that make up this outside stretch here. You just see that there are a number of ships that are all docked currently in the harbor, basically like one after another, and all of them seem to be merchant ships.
Cool. I would like to make my way up to the nearest one.
Okay, sure.
And I'm going to look for somebody who looks like they're watching everyone, but not doing much.
Like
Somebody in charge.
somebody in charge.
Yeah. HBIC.
Let's see.
Use that at work a lot because you can get away with it. Head bitch in charge.
Nice.
Ours was our hill. Rank has its privileges.
Ah. It's a good one too. I enjoyed the mechanics one as well. Loosen up between steering wheel and chair or seat. Or PEBCAC. Problem exists between chair and keyboard.
Okay, sounds like a easy one.
No, it's an IT term.
It sounds more like
For fucking
yeah, I'm looking
hard
for a PIPCAC.
winging the computer.
Is that like a procedure?
It's not working. Like that bitch who thought the Dell logo was the on button.
See, ours was a human or
Hey, the answer to that was push both of them at the same time and tell her that it worked for me.
Yep, I know, that was the greatest thing we ever did. Was subtly reach out to the power button but look like we're pressing the Dell button and it turns on. And, I don't know what's wrong with it. It's turned on.
Seems to be working
She
just
just
fine.
left baffled.
She was like, "What? Oh,
She
I
never
pushed it."
learned.
Be like, "Hey, it's okay. It happens."
Probably don't want to turn it off.
I'm so proud about that.
My favorite
Should
one
be.
was going to that lady's classroom with the boss man,
Uh-huh.
and the lady put the mouse on the fucking monitor. She took the mouse and went, "It's not working." And he laughed so hard he had to leave the room. And then he left me standing there trying to be like, he wasn't being a total fucking asshole right now.
Stories from IT.
So, so you looking around easily enough, you find amongst the crowd, it takes a second because, you know, even with the people in charge, they're kind of like directing people. So occasionally people start to move and you have to wait. But then eventually you kind of see the like low profile of somebody holding like a clipboard in one hand, and you zero in on that guy and you
I'm
begin
gonna
to
head
approach.
up towards them as though it is my business.
Okay.
Just like beeline towards them. I'll push people out of my way if that's the case. I want to act like I don't recognize workers in my path. I'm headed towards that person as though I need to go there. Is there anything on him? I'd like to do a quick check and see if there's any way that I might be able to suss out his name. Something right on the clipboard, something, anything like that. A last name preferably, but a first name acceptable.
Make an investigation check.
Oh, that's awesome. What's my investigation? Oh, there, that's a 25.
Yeah, as you approach,
19.
you kind of beeline directly towards him, and he doesn't seem to really like take notice of you at first. And so you beeline towards him, and as you do, you see him pick up the clipboard, and he's like looking at it, and then he kind of talks to the guy like, "Oh no, those two things need to go in that one over there." And he looks back, and you see that in the top of his on the top of his clipboard, he wrote COLAN with an underline, colon.
COLAN.
Yes.
One moment. Hello.
He
I'm gonna rise up to as tall as I can possibly get, which is about 4 feet with everything extended, and point myself right in his face.
yeah, he turns and he's like,
Hello.
"Yeah, what's up? Well, what can I help you with?"
I'm an information automaton. I'm here to gather information.
Okay.
I'm here to learn anything you have to say about any structures located on the southeast coast of Batella.
Southeast coast of Batella.
Perhaps out in deep water.
He's like, "Are you talking about the building everyone's talking about? The people are calling it like a temple or a
Inquiry
water?"
invalid. I am looking for any information on a structure outside the southeast coast of Batella.
I mean, I've heard that there's a building out there.
Building. What type?
I don't know. All we know is that it's like a gazebo.
A gazebo. Oh, lovely. I've not encountered that.
Yeah. Be fearful.
Do you have any specific information?
No, it's rounded.
Are you Master Colin?
Yes.
Oh, fair. Good. Then my information is correct. Do you know anyone who has any first-hand knowledge of this structure?
Looking around, he's like, no.
Thank you. Goodbye. And just walk away from him.
He like looks to the guy next to him who's like still like holding this box, and he's like, "Which fucking ship?" And then the guy's like, "Oh, no, we're here." And he carries it off.
I'm gonna go to the next ship. I'm gonna rinse and repeat that.
Okay.
I'm looking for any specific information and first-hand experience. And if I find somebody first-hand, then I'm actually gonna sit down and become a person again and talk to them.
Okay, make a persuasion check.
Absolutely, that's gonna go terrible. First natural one of the day.
All right.
So with my persuasion, which is now evened, is a 1.
Okay.
It was a negative 1 before. My charisma was pathetic.
So you rinse and repeat, go down, and kind of ask people as you go along the way. Lucrezia, you make your way.
I can spend my day doing that too, and if I don't find out information, that's fine too.
You run around the corner of the building, head right directly past the entrance to the Slums District, past the entrance to the Athenium District, or the District Arcanum, and then you run along the wall and follow it all the way around. Sorry, totally lied to you.
Yep.
You're heading the other way.
I don't care. What you say.
But you,
I can't picture this lights in my head, no matter how much. So.
You run back and you basically follow the wall all the way to the corner where the Market District kind of turns into a U almost.
Yeah.
And in that middle bit there, you find yourself in front of the Realm of Enchantment. And as you actually arrive, Cylana is currently opening. She's like just now getting to the store. She's unlocking the door, and you like come running up, and she's just like.
I'll like stop though before I get there. Okay, so you're good. I don't want to like.
She sees a 16-year-old girl stop and just kind of go. She's like, yeah.
No, go ahead. Wait. You can
Okay.
get yourself ready.
She unlocks the door, opens it up, heads inside. She leaves it kind of cracked, figuring that you're probably gonna follow along.
Yeah. I'll wait till she gets in there. Get in there.
All right.
I'll order raw, sure.
So you hang out for a minute. You can hear some rustling around inside. She seems to head immediately in, kind of go around the back, and then she disappears for a moment. And as you kind of peep inside, you notice that the light, it's all dark inside. The cases that you usually know to hold all those magical items seem empty right now. So as she kind of like, she comes back out, she like looks and sees you.
Oh.
She like pops out from behind her curtain and, okay. Yes, please enter. I don't.
Doesn't look like it's ready.
It's, and then she like pulls out a wand, a small like U wand that's kind of, and then she brings it up and she just kind of like taps, and all the lights come on.
That's so cool.
And then she like places it on the kind of like taps it on the glass to the case, and at which point like this little like flash of light kind of cascades over the front, and it becomes visible. You can start to see inside all of the items inside of it, and then she taps the other one, and all the items become visible, and then she kind of puts her wand
That
away.
was the coolest.
Okay,
I'm not gonna work.
it's open.
I know, what a dream light. Alright, go in. I come to give you money for the bag of holding we were talking about. Not the holding. Bag of holding. You can use that.
Okay.
But, money for the other day.
You hand her the money. She goes into the back for a minute. You can hear some clinking around, and then you hear this like almost rhythmic, like almost like coins clacking on top of each other for a moment, and then she returns with and then she returns with a bag that you've seen before. This sort of like glimmering, just faintly glowing, only in the right light. It kind of refracts a bit. And she sets it down in front of you.
And then, I'm gonna pull out, I'll give her, it's still kind of broken. I'll give her 100 gold as like a tip for the work.
Okay. She
Hey,
accepts.
I have a question. How long have you actually lived in this town for?
About 4 years now.
When you were back with the Duke, did you hear anything about the queen that came here? The queen that was the ruler here and her disappearance thing?
I heard that the king was assassinated. Is that it?
Kind of shocked.
Hey, I'm standing still.
No, I'm afraid. I heard the king was assassinated. Something
Yeah.
15 years ago.
But like, cause you were kind of close with a higher up. Did you hear anything back then, like any rumors or anything? You being close around?
No. As far as the kingdom's an elected monarchy. They elected a new king after the previous one died. Though, I think they said that the prince died too. I think he was supposed to take over and then he died as well.
Yeah.
But I didn't really follow along back then, and I was only with the Duke for more recently than.
Where were you before?
I was in Fort Corners.
Yeah. Oh, so you were, and then you guys got together when he came there?
Yes.
Oh. Well, I didn't know if you like came there together and you were for somewhere else.
No, originally the town was just Corners.
Have you
The
heard
arrival
any,
of the Duke made Fort Corners.
have you heard any rumors since you've been here?
No, I kind of keep to myself since I've been here. Out of the way.
What's the weirdest item you would access to?
Eggplant vibrating, self-cleaning.
I don't think I have anything weird per se.
Last question, and then I'll leave you alone so you can get started your day. If somebody was gonna ask, like one of the royal families was gonna ask somebody to make them like magical items or something, who would they go to? Because you said that there's certain things you can't do or won't do.
Who do they go to? Whoever they can hire.
But there's no way you can like think of like make
The previous owner would have been happy to create something, but she travels now.
Right.
But I mean, anyone with magical ability is capable of enchanting, provided they spend the time and effort to learn how to do it. There are plenty of people I'm sure that they could hire. They have far-reaching.
But would she be the person they would trust in town to do that, or?
I don't know. I don't know what her relationship was with. I mean, she left here because she wasn't really a fan of people.
Willing to give you a little extra vote for this. I am usually at the Mysterious Chimney. Can you send me a message if she ever comes back into town? While I'm staying here, and let me know so I can talk to her. We were in Galerin, and we heard a bunch of rumors down there because you know King down there's really in, so that's we were just thinking about some stuff. So thanks.
Mm-hmm.
And I take that.
Yeah, you exit out, hanging out. You return back, sir. As you wind down, I would imagine that you'd probably notice Theta running down. He's kind of a small circle, just running along the dock. So you probably would see him as you do. You wind down your morning exercise and practice. Did you get the sheath already? Oh,
Not
we
quite yet.
did. Oh, you have it. Okay.
So
Cool.
I am using it as a walking stick and just poking holes.
Tink. Every time you don't hit a rock, it's like it goes in cleanly, and you're like, whoop.
Nope.
Yeah.
Theta.
Hello, I am an Oh, hey, what's up? Sorry, I'm doing the whole thing out here today.
I don't want to know.
Okay.
But I'm heading.
It's
to
interesting, but it's not yielding any results.
I'm heading to the Adventurers Guild if you want to join me.
This is proving fruitless, so sure. All these people are idiots.
Well, I did get some information about the stuff with the Queen.
Oh, the secret stuff we're not supposed to talk about. I have a list of those things.
I'll tell everybody once we get there.
Wait, there's a good one. You should know it, because you're new here? Yes. Moment. There's a place called House Delirium. They're prostitutes. Don't call them prostitutes. I'll give you a heads up. Somebody had to tell me that one.
Is it like a brothel?
Yes, I think. There's drugs and there's a secret room that I couldn't find much but there's clearly a secret room in there. But I don't think they'll let me back in. You gotta be rich and classy. Oh, we're rich and classy now. We could find the secret room.
I mean, if you want to break into a whorehouse, sure.
I want to break in anywhere.
Well, usually if it's a secret room, they're not going to let you
I broke into the first person's house I met. And he exploded. No, he exploded and then I broke into his house. You said the Adventures Guild? Let's go. Yay, stories!
I imagine there's a guy standing there going, I thought he was an information robot. Started talking all
I got
normal.
different subroutines. Okay.
I really,
idiot. Run.exe and then you can do whatever you want.
I know like 3 things. All right, so you guys head back towards the market district. Lucrezia, you go running back to the Adventurers Guild.
Yeah.
And you run to no,
Before-
actually.
Wait, is this while I'm running back? Is this exchange?
Yeah,
Okay.
while you're running back. She's trying to think. There's lizard people.
Yeah.
We're getting all kinds of weird information about lizard people. Little flying like goblin things. Little even heard rumors of mushroom people. That's kind of cool. One of those manticores got murdered. The other one's still out there somewhere.
How have you been?
Yeah. Business, keeping on busy, for the most part.
A lot of adventuring out there.
A lot of people coming in wanting to adventure, then a lot of people giving up adventuring. Almost immediately after.
Or Gideon.
Haven't seen him in a minute.
Oh.
He's a hunter now, I think.
Although
We always lose him to those stupid hunters games.
Fast cash, what are you gonna do?
That's true. Well, you know, when interesting things come our way, we throw them out there and usually
Did you
get
hear
some.
anything about a temple at sea?
You know what? I think I was drinking with somebody talking about that the other day.
Yeah, where are you drinking?
I was drinking at, well, a couple places, but
Fair.
I think we ended up by the Laughing Pirate.
Mm.
It's on the lower end of not my proudest moments. But somebody was saying that it's, I don't know, I've heard a bunch of things. It's a floating gazebo, it's a temple, it's a dungeon. Yeah.
Gazebo.
Yeah, I don't know what that word means. But I heard all kinds of things. People were saying it was fucking scary in there. People were saying that, like, you know, I don't know. Some people went inside and said they didn't see anything. Other people went inside and said they saw monsters. Other people went inside and said they saw shadows moving.
Midnight Trailers?
I don't, what?
Just a thing I heard.
Oh, okay. I think the one that was the big one was somebody hit it, like with their boat, because they weren't paying attention, and it shipwrecked them.
I think I heard something about that. Another question.
Yes.
How long have you been here? In Talent?
I've lived here for my whole life almost.
Right. What about Madeline?
She's lived here her whole life.
That's how you guys wanted to catch up. Is she still good?
Yeah, she's in the back right now. Madeline, she's in the back right now.
Right.
Do you need her? Do you want me to go get her for
You
you?
know what? I actually have a question for you if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, sure. She runs into the back. Doesn't run in the back. Lackadaisically slides off her stool and goes to the back. Is more accurate of a statement. She opens the door, kind of like, Madeline! And you hear this kind of like, and then she like looks down and she's like, oh shit, sorry. You were like right there. And then Madeline comes out and they're kind of like,
Madeline.
yes,
You probably don't recognize her without the keypad, but it's Mom.
yes.
Hey, I have a quick question. You've been here your entire life, right? Were you here for the previous regime?
Oh yeah, scary times. Scary times.
I've heard some interesting rumors on our travel over this last speaking with the Duchess and a bunch of different people. They said something about the prince going missing after.
No, the prince was killed.
Oh.
The prince died. Yeah.
See, we had heard he got missing, and then he got sick, and then a bunch of other stuff.
When we first, or when it happened, we were going to treaty signing, and the king was killed by an assassin, shot by an arrow. It was terrifying, and we all ran. Everything was in like a frenzy, and they got everybody back to the castle. I felt so bad for the queen. She was right there when it happened.
She didn't get attacked or anything?
No. They were targeting just him.
That's good.
Yeah. But then, and then like a couple days later, obviously the treaty didn't get signed because somebody was assassinated. But a couple days later, a Lurin ship entered the harbor and began attacking, and they sent ground troops in, and they made their way all the way to the king or into the castle, and they killed the prince. So we think that they were aiming for killing the family, or they were targeting specifically those people.
See, I'm from South Carolina. This is the first I've ever heard of this. This is tragic. Was the queen all right then? If they got I mean, presumably Lurin attacked, the assassins. So, what about the rest of the royal family?
From what I understand, everyone else was fine. Noah tried to protect the prince, and ultimately ended up killing the guy who killed him. And then and then they tracked down the ships. They sank the ship in the harbor, and then they went around and they collected up all the fleeing soldiers or assassins. Yes, and they got all of them, from what I understand.
Oh, good. So the queen made it out all right.
Yes, I believe so.
Fantastic. You ever know what happened to her?
I heard that she had gone kind of mad,
Mm,
so they kept her in the castle
right.
for the most part. That's what I mean, she. I mean, the poor girl.
Yeah.
Her family was
Absolutely, in front of her.
killed. Yeah.
Practically.
So
Fancy stuff.
they. I mean, last we heard, she's still there. I think. I imagine.
I mean, maybe, but she couldn't be. I mean, that's gotta be weird, right?
I don't know. I mean, we. No, it never really comes up. I guess.
Huh. That's peculiar. Thank you. We just heard a bunch of rumors, and now I'm interested. I mean, we might end up being here, especially with this large sum. Might settle down roots.
Oh yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you. I owe it to you, man. If it weren't for you and Mimir, we wouldn't even be here. Hell, we might be as a hunter's guild. Yeah,
That's silly.
exactly. Thank you. I'm just waiting for my cover.
Okay. She like looks around and then she heads into the back again. Opens the door.
I'll just saunter off towards the door.
Okay. None of the postings seem new. They all seem to be the same ones that have been in there for a while now. All open, kind of open-ended things. But eventually, Lucrezia does return with her bag.
What?
It was pinned open.
So she made the sound with her mouth.
Me kicking the door open.
It was already open.
I know. Like, no way.
It was already open all the way.
Just her going, PAH!
I can kick a door even if it's open.
I imagine she comes like flying, kicking through the door, but it's already open, so it's like.
Okay. At the back.
Ready for the rest of the day.
What?
Oh, ready for the rest of the word. So as you bring out the bag, Bamir kind of looks at you. Looks at you. I think you're gonna need a bigger bag.
No, this one.
Look, it's shiny.
Ah,
Don't do that.
that's
You
cool.
said there's a sea monster that lives down there. Put your hand in it.
It's possible.
Look at it. It's shiny. It's magical. I don't know. She just said don't put your hand on it. That's one stipulation.
I shan't do it again.
Okay. Bamir heads into the back, and she begins bringing out like one at a time, well, one or two at a time, these sacks and sacks of gold, one after another after
Probably
another.
like 500 apiece, so there's 40 of them.
Yeah, so she just keeps bringing them out, and you're just sitting there like waiting for it to end, and she just, and then eventually her and Madeline together begin setting them down. Now it's like four at a time.
Is anybody
Some help?
else?
No, sorry, it's you can't come back. You
Got
can't
it.
go in the back.
Is anybody else up here?
No, adventure-wise, no. It was mostly empty. Probably the people that left earlier were.
I would like to keep a look over.
Make sure nobody's being shady.
Yeah.
See this one guy with a curly mustache. like,
No! He's a king, but he just
Big ol'
sack. Yeah. Was that one of ours?
But you ultimately you begin kind of like putting them in one at a time, and I think with all 20,000, that's the entirety of the bag. You can't put anything else in it.
Okay.
525 pounds worth of
Okay.
gold.
Well, it depends on what version you're using. The one I just looked up.
63 ounces per, or 0.63 ounces per piece.
I don't know. I just the top Google result. If you type D&D how much does gold weigh? Every 10 ounces is a pound. So that's a reduction of 10, which means that our bag of holding would weigh a metric ton.
I did
A literal flat ton.
I had to look it up.
Pounds.
I usually don't pay attention to how much gold weighs, but in this
This is
case,
a lot.
this is a lot. So so somebody mark that down,
Oh, sorry, the U.S. ton. A metric ton is different.
because I am deleting this out of my notes.
Alright, and how much was it again?
20,000?
20,000.
20,000.
Yep.
Was that 20,000 minus what we took for the bag?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
was
that
just
I already
1,000.
subtracted it.
Okay.
Yeah. 21K before.
So the bag of holding, that's
So
like the
if you-
max.
4K each.
I don't think any of
Why
us
is it
individually.
Because 20 divided by 4 is 5. I promise you.
Oh, did you come up with an adventure name yet?
How many people are in our party?
Oh, we're starting a rock.
As
I forgot.
The, other, the math the other way.
we put it in, I would like to say that. like we've got a bag of golding now.
That was good.
Do you have an adventuring party name that I can put down on here?
Yes. It was the one that we were.
The crying
It
sheaves.
was the tentative one that we given yesterday.
The Weeby Sheebs.
The screaming.
Do you remember what it was? Because I didn't write it down.
Thornburg.
Thorngard. I like it. Thorngard.
Thorngard it
It
is.
sounds way more regal than we
Why is
deserve.
he digging his nails in?
Because everybody's prickly.
Very slippery.
Everybody's prickly.
The Azure Thorngard.
The Azure Thorngard.
Is this some Final Fantasy shit you guys are doing?
No. Mine is actually typed with Saint. That's why I said it.
How do you spell guard? Is it going to be G-A-R-D or is it going to be G-U-A-R-D?
G-U-A-R-D.
Yeah.
G-U-A-R-D.
Is it 2 words then? The Thorngard?
Yup. Why not?
Well, I would have given it to her and remembered, but it's been 2 weeks since yesterday, so.
So you're officially the ATG, the Azure Thorngard.
Active Time Guard.
Oh, and Thorn has an E on it.
Fuck.
What?
No, you're not there. She doesn't write that.
Aww.
Thorn does not have
Alright.
it. It will. Who spells it that way?
Old motherfuckers. That's
Ye old Thorngarde.
We've got Magic Man with walking frogs. I think we're beyond oldie shopping.
I always thought that was Olay. So confused.
Ye ole shopping.
So she writes it down. You guys are officially the Azure Thorngard. That is what you have.
So much does 4,000 total win? 5,000.
Well, it would be a quarter of 20,000 gold.
So a quarter of 525.
Oh, fuck, I broke it.
So
1/4.
call it 1,000 some pounds.
525 divided by 4.
1250, 1270,
So I guess we'll leave it at
somewhere in there. 1263.
I don't know, this thing's having a fucking heart attack.
How much was the overall weight?
525.
Oh, total?
525 pounds total, yeah.
Oh, well, never
Divided by
mind
4.
then.
Oh, that's a 20,000.
Yeah, and 131 pounds.
Boom. Look at that math over there. Just mathing it up with
I
your
used a
math.
calculator for that shit. I thought we were talking thousands, and I was like, all right.
No, it's not that bad. So, you've collected your money. You
Gold
stand
is way
there.
heavier than that, by the way. Gold is heavy as dicks.
Well, this
I
is
looked
also
up
magical
how much-
Do you think fantasy
Oh,
was
actual
well?
gold weighs?
How much a gold piece weighs?
Well, okay, but what was your gold piece?
I believe it was 0.16 ounces or some shit like that, or not ounces. Yeah, ounces
How many
total.
grams is that?
Let me.
Sorry, we're gonna do some math here because I'm a precious metal snob, and it's gonna
But I
bug
made
me
sure
forever if I don't
5,000
fix it.
gold. I have negative 1 strength.
This is.
It's 1.6 ounces
The
per
bag
piece.
weighs 15
Oh, 1.6 ounce piece of gold?
Well, I like to
Holy
like
shit!
put it out
Okay,
though.
those are.
I think
I buy
this
gold.
is gonna be like.
I buy it in 1 gram pieces.
Yeah, this
8 or
is
10 gram pieces. Max. That's.
hashtag medieval.
I know, dude. It's,
Yeah,
gold is so
5,000
expensive.
gold
1
is
gram piece of gold costs like $70.
down with the rest of our lives.
An ounce of gold costs $1,200, I think, right now.
Yeah.
So,
A bar or
As
something.
of today. No. A bar is a whole different unit. An ounce of gold currently costs $1,193. Yeah.
So 1.6 ounces. So you should just invest this for 2,000 years.
It's an
Yeah.
unbelievable amount of money.
Turn around, you'd be
It
fucking
absolutely
balling out of
is.
control.
Have you seen a gram of gold? It's the saddest amount of gold you've ever seen. It's this big and it's lighter than like a potato chip.
And if we all took our fair share of this, we could stop adventuring now and start, I don't know, legalizing gay marriage.
We can absolutely turn into
But then the list
NPCs.
still
Yeah.
Right.
It's already legal.
Happy lives in Batella
Yeah.
until it gets bombed by some more invasion.
my one character did it with 500 gold.
Yeah.
You know?
And that was baller.
And she's bored enough to teach on the side, so.
That is a fact.
Sorry about that departure, but I just needed to know, and it was going to bug the shit out of me.
So, you guys got your money? Where are you guys heading? To Adventurers Guild, right? So, ultimately, as you guys are...
Actually, that's a lie. I would like to implore you, would you mind stopping somewhere on the way to the Adventurers Guild? What time is it?
it's probably like 9 in the morning.
Beautiful. Can we stop somewhere? Noble District.
Okay, so you're going to swing up to the Noble District.
Yeah.
You head up to the gate guards. They
Yeah.
stop you and ask for your paper.
I don't have a paper, but the Duke of Galarin said that he was allowing us access.
He has the paper.
I don't have a piece of paper, but the Duke of Galarin said that he was allowing us access.
I need your documentation so we can see it, and then we can make a note of it, and then we can allow you.
Okay.
entrance.
Will I need the paper every time?
No, once we mark it off for the names of the people listed on the notary, we keep track of the time frame that it says specifically, and then once we know that, then you just give us your names until we recognize you. At which point, once we recognize you, then you can just go through.
Fair. Thank you.
Yep.
Never mind.
Okay.
Damn
Fuck. I heard bidet.
Yeah, I did too.
That's what I heard.
Yes.
Fuck. All right. So you guys.
Well, I'm mad because I was going to bring back pastries. Because that was 2 parts. It was 1 to test and see if our accreditation was valid, and 2 to get some motherfucking pastries from that amazing bakery.
I just follow the staff and behind the guards as I walk away. I just do a turkey go.
Come on. You see a couple people on the other side of the fence, or the guards are now all looking in like.
That
Did you hear
sounds
that shit?
delicious.
Did you hear that shit?
One guy's like,
Yeah. Flashbacks.
It's Denang for a minute.
Turkey wars.
have you ever fought a giant turkey?
Sometimes it can hit you with its collar.
It's like a giant tea
Oh,
bag.
well. I'll have to introduce you to the bakery. It's amazing once we get a chance to go there. They have the best muffins. I gambled and I won every time.
So you guys return down
To the Adventures
the
Guild.
turn down the pathway. You guys see a number of the shops are currently obviously all open. You pass by everybody on your way down, and you eventually find your way to the Adventurers Guild. By the time that they would get there, you'd probably be winding down, loading up the bags because it's a slow process, and then
Then we have to sign and
and then you end up having to sign for it, and then you. Though you notice the further you go, Bamir is just like, and then like as you get the last one in, she just kind of like hands you like a clipboard.
it's gonna fit.
Really?
Yeah,
But the rest of it fit in there.
it's a limit.
Oh.
The sea
Okay.
monster takes up some room.
Whoa. For real?
Oh, that's what it's from.
Can it breathe?
Maybe one time.
No, no.
I don't understand magic.
I don't understand one.
I know magic.
What kind of
What?
magic? You see that?
I'm not there.
You just look
I'm
crazy.
running back from the guards.
So you ultimately you end up with all your stuff, and she's like, "Okay, you go."
Alright, well, once the other members get here, I think we need to quick talk about what to do with this.
The money. Oh.
Should I vote?
I'm really kind of hungry.
You could.
I thought we
You could put a down payment.
Oh, muffin. I want to go to that bakery.
Well, they got shitty little boats.
They just probably
Well, like a dinghy, you get shit for a
No,
couple.
like a little sailboat. Get a little fuck off sailboat.
Let's find out.
Yeah, hand me that. I'll find out while you do important things.
Right here.
Oh, here.
Here, hand me that. I'll find out while you do important things.
What comes next?
don't think it's in there.
Sorry about the earthquake.
Oh wait, a normal boat might be in there, but an actual boat that goes places, it's gonna be in this one.
Fair.
Both of those places.
I would start in the appendix. It's the
Thank
easiest way to find it.
Um,
Because they're in weird spots.
Sure.
I think it's near weather or some shit. So ultimately, you guys all come back together, having regrouped. And what's the plan?
Damn. I spent the day at the docks. It was utterly fruitless.
Right.
I asked about the temple, and no one knew a goddamn thing.
I learned some stuff about that.
Oh,
nothing
I'm glad
fruitful.
you did. Okay,
But
good.
more than that, I don't know if you guys had a substantial breakfast yet, but we collected our reward. I think
No.
we
Do
should
you
go-
have the documentation for Duke of Gallery?
Yes.
I would like to go to the bakery in the Noble District.
Let us.
And apparently they put our names down on a roster. Can we leave the Adventurers Guild?
Yes.
Thank you. We're going. Cool. No, I need to be outside to see this part.
She just waves as you guys all leave.
Bye. Hello and goodbye.
And Madeline.
See you soon.
Okay.
Once we're safely outside, I'm going to to let you guys know what I'm saying. So I spoke with the guard about
Well, I'm sure.
I spoke with the guard about getting access to the Noble District, and the way it works is we have documentation, we bring the documentation to them, they verify and they note down the names of the people involved, and they keep the names on a list. They reference this list in order to allow people access to the Noble District, which is not going to be very useful for me because I am distinct. But in the future, if we ever need access to a Noble District and it's run the same way, as long as we find out a name that's on that list, they don't appear to check appearance overly so. They're more checking the names and the stature of the person. So we may be able to sneak into a Noble District or this Noble District in the future if needs ever be by using a stolen name.
Was it here? Was it here that they had the magic thing, the like magic canceling thing you tried to build a Noble District? Or was that Gallery?
I think that's the magic. Or the arcane.
No, that's the Arcanum. Yeah, that's the
that tears off illusions and shit.
Alright.
Fantastic idea. If we intend to do that though, Theta, I think we would need to focus on people that are also currently. It wouldn't work if they do recognize the person. We couldn't.
fair. Yes, I'm just noting a loophole in security.
Right.
There's a lot of information in the morning.
Yeah.
That's not enough for me, to be honest.
Let's get some delightful pastries and perhaps something warm to drink.
Yes, please. Or cider, tea.
Oh,
Awesome.
yeah. Warm water.
So we'll make our way to the Noble District
Okay.
bakery.
As you
Do they have cider or cocoa? Or tea?
We'll find out when we get there.
So as you guys exit out, you guys begin heading towards the Patricians District, and as you go ahead and head up to the guards, they stop you. You present them with the letter. They unfurl it, at which point they begin reading. There's a moment of, you can see, of recognition, and then they head into the guard shack for a minute and disappear. And the time is longer than you would anticipate, but after a few moments, probably about like 10 minutes or so, he returns, and then he begins like getting each of your names all the way down, because as you did you read what the letter said? Okay. He basically doesn't include your individual names. He put the owner of this and his compatriot and his companions. So he writes down, he gets each of your names, goes all the way down the list, and he signs it off. And then you notice he is making little notes: halfling, robot, half elf, human, and he just makes those little notes, and then he closes up the book and heads back.
As an aside, I would give him my full name, not Mom.
What's your full name?
Nero Sniller.
What the fuck? Where does Mom come from?
Disregarded.
Not disregarded. I say that out loud. Where does it come from?
We will have time to talk.
And gallows.
What'd you say your name is?
Tam Gallons.
Leo Nero.
Nero.
Miller?
A2 Brutang. Stabbed 47.
Nero Miller?
How does Julius Caesar die? Surrounded by friends. So you guys head to. Ultimately, he ends up taking the letter away from you, and he puts it inside with the book. And you actually notice that the binder, like this large tome that he has, actually has a number of different leaflets stuck inside. Some with notes written on top, like 7 days or whatever on it, or 3 days or whatever, and then other ones just have like nothing. So indefinite kind of thing.
Eat on the side.
It means peace and water. So he heads out. At which point he comes back and he's like, "All right, ladies and gentlemen, you are free to go."
Sure, this isn't going to cut through it.
Yeah.
You very carefully try not to touch the sides, but then when you set it in, it rests.
Well, and I wait.
Yep.
The way I'm understanding it is the sword can't cut anything denser than a rock. It's a rock, it's metal.
Yeah.
That's probably something metal.
We could talk about it.
Make our way to the bakery.
So you guys make your way down the main pathway, this nice sort of cobblestone worked ground, complete with on either side it's flanked by these large sort of lanterns, and the buildings here all seem much nicer. And as immediately as you enter, this is like a higher class housing district basically is what this area is. So the houses look nice. They look relatively untouched from the each of the houses look kind of weathered as you move through, even signs of combat and conflict in the streets at some point. But these ones look relatively untouched and newer and nicer. And as you cross through, you get to the large open square that makes up the sort of, it's not an epicenter, but it's kind of like a focal point for the market district where a lot of buildings are. And you see on one end you have a sort of directly across from you as you enter, you have what appears to be a bunch of candles, front glass, stained glass windows with these like candles that are all warped and all shaped different directions, which you recognize to be the dancing candle. On your right hand side you see almost a cathedralian type building with these large stained glass windows that you can't tell what they're depicting from the outside, you can only see them from the inside. And this one has, the doors are currently pinned open and two very attractive women are currently like, just kind of like standing outside watching people go by. Wearing almost like belly dancer type outfits. On the left hand side,
Do I
which
recognize the attire, or is it just?
make a history check, please.
That is 9.
9. You, for one thing, the shape of the building looks very order-like. So these people are clearly a part of some kind of group. What they're about, that's hard to tell. Though through your adventures you would know of the various saints and their worshippers, but nothing immediately. It's like a tip of your tongue type thing. So yeah. And then on the left-hand side is the nice fresh smell of baked goods. A little smokestack is currently like billowing out little clear smoke.
Do they have anywhere to sit outside?
Yeah, this whole area is like a sitting square. You know, there's like little benches and stuff hanging out, and the people here are all dressed very fancily, tights and kind of like puffy pants, and they're at the height of fashion for this time. Ridiculous hats, large, ruffles, large beards, and from the conversations that are currently going around, is they mostly avoid you due to your outward appearance of being adventurers. And there's like this snobbish sort of, they look down on you and they talk about, from what you can pick up from the conversations, it's, oh, so-and-so did this, oh, so-and-so did that, I heard this person was sleeping with their scullery maid, like, shit like that. So the standard, I guess you'd say, like, gossip, but you ultimately find yourself in front of the bakery, which currently has a number of attendants that are waiting to pick up orders for the district, so you guys wait in line for the bakery.
What's the temperature like that?
Alabra has a similar temperature scale as California, so it's balmy.
Okay. I don't know if it was like chilly because it's early.
No.
Is it all year round like that? Or is it chilly?
For the most part,
Is it
yeah.
only winter?
There is a winter, it's colder, but it's not like a really snowy winter. Snow's rare here.
Is it like fall right now or
Yeah.
spring?
It's like starting the tail end of summer.
So like you have to wear a sweater, and that's about it for the rest of the year.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's about as cold as it gets here.
Then about
Till you get up to
3
the
years
mountains.
later, 3 years after this, I have to be like, ah, it's so fucking cold.
Why is it so cold? What's happening?
Yeah. So, yeah, you guys hang out outside, but as the attendants begin exiting, these basically servants and butlers that are leaving with like boxes of pastries and breads, they kind of make their way out, and the line moves relatively quickly before you end up in the shop. And inside the shop, you get a bunch of there's a bunch of like stands and displays with these like just piles of breads and sweetbreads and muffins and cookies and things like that, just kind of like hanging out everywhere. But as you get up to the counter, the gentleman behind the counter is kind of in like this rush. He's moving very quickly because he also seems to be like the baker, and he is being helped by a couple of younger gentlemen. that seem to be like taking orders from people and writing them down and like grabbing things for people off shelves and collecting them up and handing them out, and collecting money. But this guy seems to be like the main guy in charge, and he's just hurrying up. At which point he like
Is
gets
there,
to you.
is there a chance for them to like move out and grab? Oh, I'm gonna buy this and then take it to the counter.
Yes, you can do
Alright.
that.
As soon as we get in, gentlemen, lady,
Yes.
go grab whatever you want. I'll be paying for this right now, and then
Oh.
we'll sit outside. We have, to
Thank
have a, we have to have a discussion about it.
Things outside and get some shut eye real quick.
Yes. What would you like to eat, Tim?
Whatever.
I would like something hot with meat inside of it.
Well, I mean, here, grab whatever you want, and then
Unless.
I don't know if it's a thing. I'd like something hot with meat inside.
Yeah, you can move out to the different areas, and basically the people in line are just waiting to pay. But you can like he's waiting in line. You guys grab stuff, bring it to him,
Gotcha.
and then he
Well,
can
I don't know if they would serve this here, this place, this bakery. in particular.
like a meat bun kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know.
No?
He makes like bread, sweets, cookies, things like
That's
that.
what I figured. I was curious. And I'll take something with some sort of fruit folded into the center, preferably hot, and dusted with sugar.
Like sugar. Yes. Okay.
Popcorn, if you will.
No,
Like a Pop Tart or a like
like a
a
Pop Tart, like a classy as fuck Pop Tart.
Coaster street.
yeah, like a turnover.
Yeah, or a
scoon.
scoon.
That's not even a bah.
Because we're rich now.
We don't need poor people straight off us.
So you grab I'm assuming just an assortment of things for everybody in it, and we'll say for the sake of
does he happen to have any warm beverages for sale?
no, he doesn't sell drinks. He has it's gonna run you about 3 gold for everybody, all the goodies.
I'll
Is
drop
there
3
somewhere
gold.
close by that does sell more beverages that's open?
Warm beverages, it's open. The Dancing Candle's open right now.
Dance again.
It's the only bar.
Cider.
It's the only bar in town, or in this area that you can see.
If you're going to there, I'm going.
Okay, good work. Well, he's is
Step
not.
out. I got some guns. They don't sell anything warm to drink.
Okay, I'm gonna go check with him.
I'm gonna go with her.
Let's all just go over there and eat.
Fair.
We'll be okay to bring him.
Yes, they're not gonna serve food there except for like
Okay.
boring food, or they might serve really food, and they might get mad at us. We're gonna get thrown out. It's gonna be exciting.
So.
Let's piss off some nobles. Let's
Oh
go.
God.
Tim's taking a nap, right? You know what I'm saying?
On
Alright.
bench.
I mean, it is a
Love
bar, and it's
Yeah.
gonna be that there for him.
Go, I don't know, some tea would be fun.
Okay.
Tea. Fair. Type. Black. Black.
Regardless.
I know, it's a food.
Leaves and water.
I know.
Okay.
Leaves
Um,
and water.
But yeah, you pay. Ultimately, end up paying. You kind of like almost as soon as you pay, he's moved on to
Yep.
the next person. Like, oh, hey. He waves at you with the recognition, but he's like, oh hey, and then he like has to very quickly kind of jump back into helping people
What's
out.
the name of this place again?
The bakery.
This actually doesn't have a name written on it. The establishment itself literally has nothing, like no demarcations. You can just smell the
Yeah.
smells from it.
They're very close to the whorehouse.
Yeah, they're across the court from across the open square from House Delirium.
Yeah, I was like trying to remember the name of it.
Is there
The
any,
whore-
Deliriously good bakery.
I know that the House of Delirium is like a temple, but like, does it have any like shady ties? Do they ever need anybody to do like shady bidding for them?
No.
Okay.
Shady bidding like what?
I don't know, like,
disposing bodies,
I don't know, like bringing them like stuff. Like,
sacrifices,
I don't know.
or
You'd have to
How'd
find
that
out
be done?
from, like right off the top of your head? No idea.
Okay.
You would have never interacted with them.
Alright, but I know from being in town, I know about them, right? Like I know that they're a temple. They're not just a whorehouse.
Yes, and if you want to make a history check, you
Yeah,
want to make
I'm
a history
happy
check
with history check.
about the House Delirium.
that's not great.
I probably wouldn't even. I would remember walking in there once,
It's a
Yes.
9.
and then it's all gets hazy.
9. They aren't House Delirium and the Maidens of Madness are not very popular
We're going
amongst.
to a place, so I'll feed her
Yeah.
this as we go.
They're not very popular amongst other places, and the worship of a Protean saint is not very necessarily very accepted. In places like Jormungandr and Sanmania,
It's a little bit taboo.
worshippers of that particular of the saint would be frowned upon, but they would also be like some eyes wide shut type shit. They would be secret organizations that use those organizations to worship.
But I don't know.
Huh?
I don't know.
Yeah.
You would know that.
Okay.
That's what he's kind of like
Yeah, I'm
regaling,
telling
like,
you.
oh hey.
As we walk to the place for the hot.
So in being in Alavra, that's allowed. Like they don't. It's not frowned upon. That's why they actually have like a full-on temple here. So, one of the few. But you guys cross the threshold. You head into the Dancing Candle. Once you open the doors, you're immediately hit with the smell of kind of like fresh ale and a warm sort of hearth. It's like nice and cedary smelling in here. The floors are well kept. All the decor is very nice, but the clientele that seems to be hanging inside does not seem to be very noble-ish. They are dressed relatively,
Bruisers?
huh?
It's like bruisers.
No, more like what you would consider to be like the black sheep of noble families. So people that don't care about necessarily wearing like this like fancy duds. They all seem well cleaned and shaven and nice outwardly appearance, but they're
slumming it.
yeah they're like hanging out. You know, this is the equivalent of wearing sweatpants in public, right? Most nobles actually avoid this area and are trying to run it out of business. They've been trying for years. And that's something that is pretty apparent. The clientele is scarce, but the guy that's working in there does not seem to be affected. He, seems to be upbeat, and as you enter, he's like not recognized. He's like, "Hey!" He's like, "What can I do? Come on up! What can I get for you?"
Do you have hot beverages?
Fuck yeah, we do. We have all kinds of beverages. What do you want?
Do you have mulled cider?
Ooh, maybe.
Maybe.
Let's go find out. And then
Maybe for maybe.
he walks into the bank and just kind of like disappears for a moment.
The same thing. And then a tea.
He pops his head back out from the door. You talking to me?
Yeah. Do you have tea? Of some
Oh yeah, we have tea. We got all kinds of tea.
Plain black.
Yeah, we can pull some out. Is that what you want?
Well, one of those, and then if you have the cider that he's talking about.
Cool. And
Or
then
the mulled
he disappears
wine,
again. And then he
Cider.
Mulled cider.
I'll take mulled wine when he doesn't have mulled cider, but I'll put that in his head.
He pops back out and he kind of like sets down some hot water and some tea leaves and like a little container to drop into the tea. And he's like, "Well, there's that." And he's like, "I have cider, but it's not warm. I could warm it up for you. You could slow warm it."
Do you have mulled wine?
Yeah. That we do.
I'll swap for wine then.
Okay. You want cider or wine?
Wine.
Okay. How old are you? I don't think you're.
She popped a stick and it made her younger. She's good.
What?
Magic.
Magic?
Yes. Like the Athenium throws around, the big flame in the sky.
I was 23 a couple days ago. Now I'm 16.
That's a good excuse.
Isn't it? We're adventurers though. If you have an adventurer's guild badge, show me your adventurer's guild. They don't let minors do that.
Cool. I'm gonna tell people that though. You notice he has like a whitish sort of like his hair is like kind of whiting on top, but it's like very like regally, I guess you could say. He's a clean shaven appearance.
Sorry.
But he looks a little bit older, probably in like 50s or so, and he's just like, I'm gonna tell people that too. De-aging potion or some shit.
Is he human?
Yes, human gentleman. And then he kind of disappears in the back and he returns with some mulled wine and he sets it down for you guys.
Fair.
1 gold each.
All right. For each cup.
Well, 1 gold for these. The tea's like copper. You can,
Okay,
just, you
well,
can just keep it
here's-
actually.
Here's 2 gold. Hand that off to him.
Paid up for that, so he just waves.
I'm Theta.
Oh, nice to meet you. I'm Ignis.
Ignis. Nice to meet you as well. What is this your farm?
Yes. Yes. Welcome to the Dancing Candle.
Dancing. I saw the sign. Yes, it's lovely. I like it. It's fun. Are there many taverns in the Noble District?
Yes and no. We have the bar. We have the tavern. Everything else is almost like a speakeasy. You gotta know a guy.
That's what I assume with Noble and whatnot, not browsing so much. That's fine. We're generally new to the Noble District. We just got access today. Well, yesterday, but teleportation. It trips your brain. Took a month to get there and a day to get back. You know how that is.
Nope. Never done that before.
You've heard of it, I assume.
Yep.
We got rich bitches in here.
Yeah, they don't. They still don't care.
No.
No.
That's fine.
The Athenium doesn't let those people use their facilities.
Oh, you gotta know a guy?
Yeah.
Well, we know a guy.
Nice.
How long have you lived here?
My whole life. My whole family's
Have
from
you
here.
traveled anywhere?
Yeah, I've gone as far as Tefel to the north.
You ever been to Galarin?
Not that far south.
No, that's where we went. We took the Baroness
Oh.
back that way. From
Wow.
the big hoopty-doo they had. It was terrifying. There's a lot of lizard men out there.
Oh yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah, there's a whole war going on, but we ran into a couple of them. They are durable. They just keep taking it. It's remarkable. But I have a question for you. I'm relatively new to the area. I came from Ferrodin. I came on a boat. It was lovely. Not really. I didn't enjoy the sea travel much, but I tell people I did because it makes the conversation shorter. So I heard that there used to be a king here, and then there was a giant kerfluffle, and everything changed.
Yes.
So, what can you tell me about that? Here, do you want to take these back to get in this?
Yeah, I was gonna tell you, I take those and then come back.
Okay.
So as she exits out, you're kind of yeah, man. We had this. Man, it was a crazy day. We were in the square for the treaty between Lorin and Alabra. They had representatives from both sides.
There's some animosity there.
Oh yeah, we hate those
Still?
guys. Yeah,
No,
Well,
fair.
especially now.
yeah. We don't know. We don't
I
necessarily
don't
get
know.
along.
I just know that I know where I come from, and I know a lot about where I come from. But yeah.
And basically, yeah, man, we were hanging out. It was I remember getting some food. I was in the crowd.
Is it a big holiday? Is it on Monolith?
No, it was actually out in the square right in front of here.
Oh,
This was before I took over this establishment.
sure. Fair.
Yeah, they were getting ready to sign, and the prince from both countries came over, and they were getting ready to sign, and then all of a sudden, yeah, somebody shot the king with an arrow.
Just plain old arrow.
It hit him right through the head.
That's a remarkable shot.
Yeah, and they tried to chase him, and they lost him, and nobody knows where the assassin went. But then it was those little Lorin bastards, and they immediately ran, so we knew it was them. And some fighting erupted. They fled. They disappeared, and then like a couple days later, another ship somehow got into the harbor and started laying siege to the town by itself.
Really?
And our ships were out chasing, and we had a blockade set up, so I don't know how the hell they got through. But next thing you know, we're getting shelled from the harbor, and there's all these alarms going off, and then there's fighting in the streets. They got like a small like band of them just messing stuff up, and I guess they made it all the way into the castle.
Sip my wine while I listen.
They made it all the way into the castle, and I hear that fighting there was the most intense, and I guess the prince died in the process.
The prince died. So he was murdered.
Yeah, he was killed by one of the Lorin.
So when the assassin escaped, they caught him.
Yeah. So after the prince died, and they were killing people, but then they tried to run, but they couldn't go back to the ship because we finally managed to sink it.
Like saying, was it recovered? Is it still there?
I think it's still there.
Really?
I don't
Up the
think they
center
ever
of the
recovered
harbor, like in the horseshoe, or is it further out?
No, in the horseshoe.
Oh, it's right there. Oh,
Mhm.
that's remarkable.
And then they couldn't go there, so they ran south, and they made it all the way to the slums before they were caught. Before they were stopped, and we were purging. They were going house to house, kicking things in to make sure that they weren't holed up in somewhere. And I guess they got them all, and they brought them in, and they were executed not too long after.
So assassins in the just amidst you in the noble district too. That must have been shaky. So did they assassinate anyone else in the castle?
They kind of like wantonly killed people.
Just sure brazen. Just
Yeah, we all just like kind of like ran indoors. I was with my family at the time, and we hid in the estate. But like, yeah, there was like soldiers running by and all kinds of things happening. So it was kind of crazy.
So the entire noble family was killed in that raid.
No, I don't think so. I think a couple of people that lived in the castle survived. But I know Noah was injured.
King Noah now.
Yes, King Noah now. He was injured during the fighting. There was a couple other people injured during the fighting, and then there were a couple of people killed, but not anybody like attendants were killed.
They just went for high profile. And they seemed to know where they were going.
I don't know, maybe. They just seem to be from my hidey hole. I didn't see a thing. I just heard afterwards, you know.
So, did you hear? So the king was murdered in the streets. The prince was killed in the castle. The queen soon was killed in the fighting.
No, I think she was fine. She was hidden, but she was okay.
That's a blessing, really.
Yes, it was good. But I heard that I mean the poor girl, she didn't last too long. I think she.
What took her?
I don't know if she didn't die. I think the rumor was that she couldn't handle dealing with people or something. So
They lock her up. I know in Theroden in some places they tend to. There's people that go mad with grief or sorrow or just plain madness, and it happens occasionally dealing with certain things, and maybe Underdark and places like that. I've heard that they have a tendency to ball them up in rooms they can't hurt themselves.
I think I think they resigned her to her room for the most part. She still lives in the castle, I think.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. That's what they say.
Where's her room in the castle? Is she like a tower, or is she just in off to the left of the main hall or something like that? Would be remarkable, wouldn't it? You're fly every day.
I've only been there a couple times, usually for events.
We've been there recently for that event with everyone. Big whoop-de-doo.
Yeah, they don't usually let us into the thing, but from what I understand, all of the noble rooms are on the second floor. I think, second story.
That's crazy. I've not heard that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the history lesson. Ignis,
Sure.
it's a pleasure meeting you. I'm glad. You'll definitely see us here more. We're in this area, and we like taverns. We're currently staying at the Mysterious Chimney down in the rest of town. But we have a business that's going to bring us up into the Nova District much more often. So I'm sure you'll see us. The bakery by House Delirium is delightful. I assume you've been there.
Oh yeah.
Their muffins are they're incredible.
Yes.
And I barely have taste buds.
On that note, we're going to take a break. So we're going to go down for a second. We're going to take our break, and then we'll be right back with.
So we're solid.
Huh?
I got everything I wanted out of that,
Okay.
so that could be the end of that.
So we're gonna go down for a second, and we'll come back up, use the bathroom and all that stuff. So hope you're enjoying, and we will be right back. Let me. I gotta disappear off camera here to go turn off this thing.
The off switch is very far away.
There.
Damn it, I'm hitting every other button but the clock.
easy fix for a landlord or for a plumber.
Yeah, there's a.
We're talking about life and adult stuff. Don't mind us.
I know it's gross.
We're all living a fantasy.
I pretend I'm an adult all the time.
I ask for adults all the time.
Man, I bet that sounds great on mic.
It sure does. Sounds fine.
For sure it is.
Left
They
and
make
right.
ASMRs about clicking pens and shit. Everything's up to somebody.
You should know. You didn't.
You watch that guy who makes knives out of random stuff?
No, that sounds hot.
Yeah, he makes them out of like pasta and carbon fiber and
Is that
cardboard.
ASMR
I
video?
don't. Well, no, he made an ASMR video, and it drove me up the wall. I hated every second.
Do you like any ASMR?
No, it's not listening.
I know, right?
But that particular video, I was there to watch him make this thing, and he just focused on ASMR the entire. And I was like,
No.
I was literally sitting there going, 5 seconds forward, 5 seconds
Oh,
forward,
no.
5 seconds forward. Stop
Yeah,
it.
it's something.
Now it's
Yeah.
time to sharpen the knife.
Well, he had a teddy bear and then binaural mic, so that he was like snipping scissors next to its ears on purpose to make the sounds for the thing. I was like, this is so pointless, stop it!
I would.
So what you're saying is ASMR D&D.
I mean, I'll make an ASMR video when I mean, I got my mic
Yeah.
up there actually.
Really quietly,
You have accents and stuff.
like rolling the dice.
Ew, that's not ASMR!
It's any sound can be ASMR.
Not like.
Darkness.
Is that not ASMR?
I mean, I think so. I
Oh my
agree.
god, are we doing ASMR? We just read the shit that Momo sends?
No.
That's how you get a
No.
lawsuit.
Yeah, it's
One of your streamers, like.
People listen to it while they're drifting off, and then they just have
We
like
get a spot on the news though, and there's no such press as bad press. So
So, with that being said, we pan back into
So, they were in the bar the whole time too. Like, we were gonna eat in there.
where are you gonna eat in there?
Yeah.
No, they wanted to eat
Oh,
outside.
I
You
thought,
take
that's right,
that.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tam's outside. News. Yeah.
So you step out, you hand them their drinks, and then you head back in
Yeah.
to catch the rest of the story, and then
Oh, yes.
yeah, the conversation winds down. You get the information you want. Mr. Ignes fucking begins kind of like cleaning up. He's got really not a lot to do. There's not a lot of people hanging out
What
with him
kind
right
of cups are these?
now. They seem to be made out of like some sort of porcelain or
Oh, fuck.
ceramic material.
We will bring these back.
Okay.
Let's go.
Yeah. So you sit. What's wrong? You want a bug?
I don't know. Something just touched and the whole table started shaking. Somebody was doing
Oh,
something.
that's me.
Might
Okay.
be me too. That's on the foot.
I think it's no.
Anyway,
I can't move right now.
stuff under the-
Sorry about the earthquake.
Whoops.
Okay. We sit down. So you
Okay.
wanted to talk about stuff. I think we all wanted to talk about some stuff. So
Right. First, please. We just made 20,000.
Yeah,
Which
which
is
is
a magic bag. This bag is literally full of gold.
Oh, we have it.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't realize we had it.
At this juncture, if we split it evenly, it would be enough that each one of us could retire comfortably in the Noble District for the rest of our lives and probably for the greater part of our children's
stop
lives,
crying.
if we so chose to.
Our children walking around.
I like that he was talking. Stop crying. He's at the dog, but it
If-
was great.
If any of you would like to, Tam included, if you would like to take a share of this gold and retire, I am content with that. I will not. I will be continuing onwards. I have other
Kinda
goals
boring.
beyond money.
Yeah.
But
Sorry. Not my money. Also, I don't plan on staying here for too long.
me neither.
What is retiring?
You get a substantial amount of money, and you don't have to do anything. You can simply exist. You don't need to work. You don't need to forage. You have a home taken care of. You need only stagnate and procreate. Or, alternatively, you could pursue whatever pastime you want. Tinkering.
I already
Well,
do that.
what most
Not interested.
fleshy races do is they just sit around and wait until they die.
In garden.
That too.
Some
Sounds-
garden. Whittle.
Sounds utterly boring.
Make things.
I already do what I want to do. I don't need a name for it.
I'm only 16 here.
No, you actually can.
Yeah. So other options though, since you said it's a group thing, did we want to try to get like a place here? Did we want to try to get a boat? A boat
I
might be
can't
useful.
sail a boat.
Well, you could
Well, we could
hire
learn.
people to do it too.
If we had a boat, we'd learn one way or
And
the other.
I personally feel that if we're going to get a boat, we should have like some kind of weather witch.
We could get one.
Regardless of any of that, if we're all in agreement and not going to depart this route, the Azure Thornguard, by the way.
What?
The what?
The Azure Thornguard, that is our adventuring guild name.
What does it mean?
It's a blue Thornguard.
What does that mean?
You said things?
Yes.
Fair.
Speaking of weird sounding things, what is your name?
I don't know, you have to ask my mother.
What's your full name?
Leo Neros Miller.
Where's the mall come from?
Oh, well,
Probably
Look.
talks a lot.
it's. That hurts.
Sorry.
Are you a bard? Alright, I'm not gonna go into my past. It's not relevant to what we're doing here. That's something that my teacher had a singular name, and I thought that's what I was supposed to do. And anyway,
Were you not
after,
supposed to?
I don't know. I mean, Nana has only one name.
Actually, that's just
Who?
two.
Nana has one name, two syllables.
What's a nana?
She's the young woman.
It's a
that
brand.
She tried to kill me like a month ago. Look, regardless.
Oh, when your window was
Oh,
open.
Yes.
yeah.
And anyway,
I heard that.
if we're all going to continue, then I spoke with Madeline about the issue that we were tasked with, and I learned, glossing most of it over, it seems that after succumbing to madness from witnessing her family die, they may very well still have her in the castle.
That was I talked to Ignis about that as well, who's a bartender around the corner.
I actually went drinking with a bunch of sailors, and they gave me a lot of information.
Oh, really?
Right. So we can share that now.
Also, before you hop
So-
into that, there was a ship that assaulted the city,
Mhm.
and it sank in the harbor, and it's my intention to go and check that out. I think it'll be a leisurely stroll for me. So
Yeah.
I'm curious, and it might be neat stuff.
The king, Renan, was killed.
Oh, that's
Colette
his name.
is his wife.
We knew the Colette, right?
She's the queen, right?
Yes.
There was also, at the time, there was a chancellor named Grevon.
Gravon.
He should still be there as a chancellor to.
So, well, I want to pay attention around this. Make sure we're not being watched.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
go ahead and make a
Also,
perception.
there was one man that quit his job. Right, it was the previous high constable. So if you know somebody in the guard,
I have a question. Does anyone know how long the High Confessor has been here?
would that be something I would know?
How long he's been here?
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Off the top of my head, would you
She might.
make a history check?
Roll them bones.
That said, we do know somebody. Hey, that's not bad. Captain gave us.
11. No, you don't know how long he's been here. How long he's lived here?
I'm just curious. He seems to have carte blanche for the whole city. He seems to have authority that is unrivaled, and I imagine because of some religious tie or something.
More than likely. Yeah.
But I've also heard that he is affiliated with the current queen in some way, shape, or form, and that is part of what gives him his authority.
The religion. We share religion.
Something, I think so. I didn't pay attention to it because all religions make no sense. He's in a very real position, and I've talked to him a couple of times conversationally. I don't know if that merits anything, but I know humans are weird about that. So that may give me some familiarity to ask him some questions, but I need to be very careful about the questions I ask, provided he knows something. But he may be a source of a font of information if we can lever that door open.
Would recommend calling nobody of any high stature. Mostly because if
I'm just saying dead end. That's an option.
the Duke had already done that, he has more authority than most of the people here, except for I guess the High Confessor if he has the ear of your queen.
Well, the only thing I was thinking is that humans, you know how you are, you tend to like to brag about things, and if I can get him talking to typically people will begin talking about other
The
things.
confessor.
And the confessors.
I don't know that he's.
I mean, he looks human. He's got the arms and legs in the right place. He's about the right height. He wears a whole thing. But I'm gonna assume that he's human. He could be lying, but even if he's lying, if he's trying to pretend to be human, then he might pretend hard enough to get some info out.
Is
Also, I like talking to him. It's fun. Because everyone else is scared of him, and he seems to find it amusing.
So,
Just walk up and
far
talk.
end of the spectrum, very far end, is breaking into the castle at all an option?
I mean, it's always an option, but as the authority on this,
There's like maybe 2 other people in here, and they don't seem to be very interested in what's going on.
as the authority of breaking into places, I will tell you that as you up the tier of place, you up both the difficulty and the prospective punishment.
So you think
And-
it's too hard?
Well, I don't think it's too hard to do. It's definitely doable. I mean, I hung around there for a while. It was doable. The problem is you need a reason to be there, and I make it a personal rule that if I'm going to break into somewhere, I break into somewhere where I can overpower the person who's there. Notice how the
Can't
word
do that
person is
fast.
singular. And 2, you never attempt to do something where the punishment or the consequences
Outweighs
are
that.
too high to accept. No, not outweighs the goal. You can take punishment that's harsher than the goal. You can be jailed for a month for finding out something that's worth a day. That's fine, as long as you can walk away from the punishment. But at the castle, it's not a walk away punishment. It's not just, oh, whoopsie.
So-
They just kill you.
When you were outside the castle,
Slept in a bush.
you only stayed in one spot. You didn't like.
God no. There are guards everywhere, and there were people that teleported from place to.
I just realized you guys were outside. I thought you guys were in the bar for some reason.
Yeah,
Oh, no, yeah,
there's like
that's
2 people in here. I'm like, I don't know if
Okay.
you remember.
There are a lot of people around. I lied to you. There is a lot of people around. And as you, she shouts out, "Is it okay to break into the castle?" There's a number of people like,
We're rehearsing a play. We're talking about a play.
make a deception
Not
check.
this castle.
All right.
Let's go.
Okay. Wait. Oh wait. Okay. Deception.
Yes.
14.
Okay. They kind of like just walk away from you, like avoid you.
Don't steal my ideas.
Okay. So, you guys continue your narrative.
Yeah.
You stayed in a bush. So should we lurk around the castle, see if there's like some place like away from the castle that they would like keep someone, or do you think they would only keep her in the castle?
No, there's no reason to keep someone outside the castle. They have a fortress.
Witnesses me?
Okay. What year is it? Fair. What year did the queen cease to be a public figure?
15 years ago?
15 years ago. Your current age.
No, 16.
23.
Anyway, oh yeah.
Regardless.
There's debate.
So let's talk about object permanence.
Oh god, this is gonna take so long.
Yes,
Oh,
it is,
no.
because I feel like you need an abject lesson.
No.
Yes.
Do this to me.
What did you do yesterday?
I don't know.
I mean, that proves my point better than anything. So, someone sitting outside the castle, it's 365 days a year?
Look for somebody that deals with madness.
365 days a year here?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
400.
hilarious.
So, someone sitting outside the castle 1,200 days ago.
That's a lot of days.
Yeah. 1,200 days. What is that? 15 years ago?
Well, beyond that, Data,
Yes.
we could just look for a doctor.
Madness.
I'm sure a noble doctor more than likely went.
That's a
We can
plan.
talk about that. Guys.
Now, the downside of that is, if I were a cunning and ruthless person, and I had a crazy, look around for a moment and notice all the people, and I had a person that was of high stature but unwell, after being seen to and made stable, I would probably kill that doctor.
What about,
So miss it, doctors. Precisely.
what about people that deal with madness? You said that she was mad.
That's a really good point as well. That's something to look into. We look at people who cure crazy.
I know.
I mean, or you could just ask homeless people.
The House William worships the god of madness, right?
Yes, they do.
Well, they worship the god of beauty and other stuff.
Beauty, lust, madness.
Who?
Crowd.
So, I don't know.
Right.
Well, why would they want to cure that?
Well, I'm saying
They wouldn't, but they
don't.
might.
I don't know.
Then cure it.
Generally, people know he's the god.
They would.
Well, I have an idea. How about we just make a donation to him and see if they could beseech their God to see if there was anybody that entered his spectrum of whatever he does.
That's not a bad plan either. I mean, if somebody's going crazy, then the guy crazy might know that. That's definitely an avenue worth checking out.
I don't generally get.
So what avenues are we checking out right now? There's house.
No, but I mean, gods are they exist. They're powerful things.
Yeah, of
and their worship system doesn't make any sense.
also it's called house donor. So like if you're like maybe they don't nobody knows they work in madness. I'm like, well.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Be
The name
delirious.
is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. Sorry, just thinking.
I assumed it was a nod to the sex.
No, their official name is they're referred to as the Maidens of Madness.
Oh,
That is their actual title.
it's all right. So it's the bullet point under
Yeah.
the header.
Come see our Maidens of Madness.
Another option would be to go in under a guise and no, we already talked about why we don't go into the castle. We had an invite last time and it barely let us all out alive. And by all of us, I mean, but we might think about going to the House Delirium and begging poor and ask them to cure someone we know of madness and see if it's possible and see what the price tag is and then refuse to pay the price tag and go, thank you, we'll think about it, or we'll just kill little Billy or whoever we have that's crazy.
Or the I like the first one.
But I mean, but that would be another option, see if it's even possible, and if we know that it's possible, then we maybe start trying to grease some wheels.
Well, I think our first and probably best option is just look and see if there's a court position that either A was in service 15 years ago or was murdered. If he was murdered, then we know something nefarious is afoot. If he still works as a local physician here in the Nobles District, perhaps he'd have records.
I think that's a very wise place to start. I don't do well with people. They're put off by me, and I don't seem to be able to glean much from them if I'm not paying them money. So if you guys want to check that out, I think I'll go check out the boat. That would be a better use of my time.
Sounds good.
No.
Trash.
What?
I'm
Oh, your
trash.
Christmas max? 20? Oh, shit, I didn't know. Okay. Mine's half bad.
Mine too.
Oh, yeah, because you got it up in the closet.
Are you Broly over there?
It's
Maximum.
I think it's madness. I'm like, why did you say that?
Madden will be awesome.
Okay.
Christmas.
So, House Lear, what else do we want to try to do with this? I don't know. I'm deferring to you guys on this, 'cause I don't know.
We have
A list.
the guard, doctor for ailments or madness, and then also the prison to see if
Oh,
any of
yeah,
the
prison.
traitors, or not traitors, but the people that
Oh, that's a really good point. I don't know if you intended it, but we could talk to the guards and see if there's any member of the old guard around who may have worked in the castle and
the high constable.
put out that. Well, yeah, but also just generic guards. Someone who's put out to pasture. You know, they take old guards sometimes. They put them on easy posts to live them there, and they might have some stories. And usually, you just ply them in alcohol, and they'll tell you everything there is to know about them. And they'll say some things that they wouldn't say otherwise.
Okay.
We got money to buy alcohol.
So there's four options so far. Any other options?
Well,
Oh.
aside from going to the slums and checking crazy people there.
There's
and,
the other option too.
Your slumlord. Has he
Yep.
been here
He's
long?
been here for a while.
Yeah, we can.
It's a good point. There's also another option that we have not even considered at this point, which is to not. The queen means nothing to me. The monarchy
To not do
means
this at all,
nothing
you
to
mean?
me. I'm just saying. I'm not saying we should do it. I'm just saying it's definitely an option. To just walk away. The Duke is doing his own thing, and he clearly has some trouble at home and a war to fight.
What would you
But-
rather be doing?
I don't know. I'm just saying it is. We have very little investment in this, and so if push comes to shove, I'm willing to drop this and walk away and let the kingdom run as it's
I
been
mean,
running.
we don't have, like, the other stuff that's going on, that's on the board.
I'm not saying that it's something we should choose to do right now. I'm saying if
It's
something
on the
comes to the wall,
Yeah.
we can drop this If it becomes too dangerous, or it becomes too fraught, or if we're pissing off the wrong people, this is a decent town. It's going to move to a capital city, but our faces will be remembered. And if the people that will remember our faces are in power, it could become a very bad place for us if we're poking our noses where they don't belong.
Absolutely.
For present company with noses. But I don't.
We can talk about your short
I agree
I
wholeheartedly.
just think it's a valid point that needs to be put on the table.
We'll pursue it for a bit and we'll see where we are.
Yeah, no, I'm very willing. I'm interested at the moment. But if interest or danger overrides interest, I am more than willing to let the Duke sit in his own bed, as it were.
Alright then.
Sorry about his sister.
Data, you're going to the ship?
Yes.
Then, Lou, do you want to pursue the slumlord now, or do you want to accompany us for stuff in the Noble District, and we can just work our way back out towards the slums?
I would advise that we look at the lowest cost, either monetarily or public showingly. Well, the lowest cost multiplier of everything, and to me that speaks his guard.
Yeah.
The High Chancellor,
High Constable.
the Constable. Thank you. I think that he is probably the least likely to raise a fuss or a stir about things, whether dead or not.
Well,
And if you find him,
what about the prison?
the prison is going to require passes and it's going to require permission and it's going to. We can go in the back way. I have that phrase, but wandering into a prison through its only secret passage is probably a great way to draw attention to ourselves. I imagine there's guards at night.
And especially if they found it after.
And we have told people about that passage previously.
So it might be guardable.
The King's Guard knows about it.
We should have told them.
I mean, we were doing what we thought was right.
Alright,
Those words can't
so
be
the
said.
guard, or the high constable, then who else?
Probably the slumlord after that.
And then try to find a physician?
And then, well, actually, probably a guard then a physician, right? Because it's just a physician, you can
yeah.
pose any story to
Two,
that.
three. I'm making a.
And
And
they'll
the
know.
last would probably be your
What about,
House O'Leary.
do we want to go to the prison at all? Or
I agree. I say we leave the prison on the list, but off of it, just because I feel like it's a very high-profile area,
Yeah.
and wandering there will bring lots of
If
questions.
she's there, we'll end up hearing about it from someone else.
Precisely, especially the physician.
Do you think the high constable will be able to do something?
I imagine the high constable or the high confessor can get anywhere. Oh, you mean the constable
Yeah,
himself?
he's retired.
I have no idea what he's capable of. He may be dead.
Okay.
Usually, once you retire from something, you don't really have any.
Yeah, some cool. Alright, so
Yeah, maybe to get somebody hired, but not really. Hey, I want
You
to
could go in for a wander, but you'd be hard pressed to go in for a wander with a group of known adventurers. Commander Galus knows us by name and by sight.
Galus, is he an option at all?
I mean,
Maybe
he
not.
might be, but also bear in mind what he swears allegiance to.
Well, not only that, but he's also the guard captain of the Mercantile District, and that's two whole
Oh.
districts separate.
Fair. We don't know what he did
And we
before
don't like
that.
that other dude.
But well, don't talk to him in the slums district.
Yeah.
He's a prick.
Yeah. Is there a noble district?
I'm sure there is, but I
I
don't
don't
know
know
if
what
we
else.
have high enough profile to know him,
So
or
who's
if
the
we
one-
want him to know who
Who's
we
the one
are.
who's in charge of like all of them? Is there a person that's in charge
That
of
would be
like,
the
all
High
of them?
Constable.
High
The
Constable,
current high constable?
Lyric Cavil, yeah.
Oh,
Oh, it's Cavil.
Yeah,
It's
you-
the High Constable.
Yeah.
He's the prick.
No, he's
No.
fine. Elman Fritz is the
Fritz.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cavill. Wait, was it
Cavill
Paul?
was the one that Nandril fought.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. That's
No.
right. No,
prick. Cavil is not the one you fought. You
no,
fought,
but he was there. Cavil
he was there. The captain of the guard was present. You guys had briefly he said like hello, and that was about it. He was highly decorated
Right?
at the banquet. He was highly decorated.
Supreme
Tall.
Commander. That's all I know.
Yeah, Supreme Commander. I mean,
Because he was
that's
introduced.
pretty
Well,
all-encompassing.
there's actually two. The supreme commander of the military is a general. The high constable is only in charge of the guard.
Change that from Supreme Commander to High
I thought
Constable.
that's what they fucking introduced him as. Is the
They might have. They might have been fluffing his feathers.
Yeah, the Supreme Commander of the Guard.
Is it Supreme Commander of the Guard?
No. Emil Leinhardt is the supreme commander of the Alavran Knights.
Oh, I thought it was the Grand General.
Yep, same thing.
Oh man. So wait, what's the proper title for Cavill?
Leroy Cavill is the High Constable, the current High Constable.
I swear we've heard about him more than just that, because that name sounds really familiar other than that.
Grandmaster of the Hunt.
Supreme Command. So, High Commander of the Guard.
Wait, who did not go fight at the tournament?
That was, the Duke. Cornez? Or no? No?
At the banquet he fought. Yeah.
Yeah, he fought the Duke at the banquet, but
Yeah,
at the tournament of arms.
At the Tournament of Arms, he actually went toe to toe with what's his name? Yeah, no, what's his name? Sorry, my brain is not working. So you fought, you went toe to toe with you fought Captain of the Guard District or of the Market District.
Oh, so Galus.
Yeah, you fought Galus, but then he
No, Galus got beat by.
yeah by a random dude, by another guard. He was just a regular guard,
Yeah.
and I didn't expect that to happen. So then you beat that guy, and that was the guy you beat for the title. So it was like
Seville! Is that the guy you fought?
No, Seville's the guy with the fucked up face.
No.
What?
Matthias Seville is the Duke of Cornus.
Yeah, he was with Cylon, right?
Oh, I should be
Yes.
calling the Duke of Cornets. Oh shit.
He
He
has
has
a
a name.
Cornus is the name of the place.
But he's
Matthias
the-
Seville is the name of the guy.
Yeah, he's the one who fought with that red thing.
Yeah, because they kept
Yes,
saying.
the Red Lightning.
Matthias.
Yeah.
Amadeus.
Matthias,
Talking about
Matthias.
Anyway.
Rocky now Matthias.
Where are we going, guys?
We're doing a history lesson. You're welcome, I guess. Sorry for all the confusing wonderfulness. There's a lot of names.
There's a lot of
That's
people.
why I only
The-
know for PCs.
I was trying to dump the NPC list for you guys so you knew who these people were at the banquet. So there was a
Yeah.
lot of names given out there.
Yeah.
And they all did have titles.
Option 5, take it. Sure.
Take me. Okay.
You good?
Oh, good, good.
Okay.
I'm just
Guard
looking
Sorry, you look like you were looking through your notes for something.
I was looking
We'll go
through
ahead.
that list.
I think it's a good plan. I'm gonna go underwater
Did you
Alright.
to be away from the people.
Should we come?
Do you need light?
No, I've got Belvin.
So wait, what are you doing with that shipwreck?
Exploring it. I'm seeing if there's any treasures left behind, any clues, and any remnants of the people there. Because I think it'd be very, very interesting to find out if the people on that ship weren't from Loren.
Maybe
Oh,
I was thinking of.
Data, before you go,
Yes.
another thought occurred to me when I was listening to Madden's story. Given what occurred and the Duke Kellington's connections and what have you, do you suppose it's possible that after the assassination and the death of her son, that she might have gone queen in exile to Loren? Or fuck that place.
To Loren.
Corn?
Yeah.
Loren is correct.
It's
Valor?
No.
No.
Loren.
The warring nation.
Yep.
Queen in exile. Maybe they
It's-
put Green State as a puppet queen.
I mean, it's possible, but I can't. I have a hard time believing that because if truly Loren was to blame for the assassination, which seems pretty true and seems par for the course, I have a hard time believing that a person would run to their assassins for that. I could more see her holding up somewhere in between. I know there's caves in the mountains if you can find safe havens. There's a nation to the north of some kind, a bunch of elves. I don't know much about them. And there are many settlements to the west. And you can even flee to the east, out into the ocean. There's several. I mean, we've heard about this temple that no one seems to know much
I
about.
want to see that.
They could also go to where she was from originally.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah, back to her home.
Yeah.
That's.
Fucked up theory. What?
But additionally, two pirates have been on the rise since then. Pirates have been on the rise since then. So I've heard. Granted, their stories told to children, but there's always the story of the rebellious woman who cuts all ties and goes onto captain, of course, captains, but goes onto a pirate ship and becomes part of that crew.
That'd be
Usually
cool.
the leader.
Well, just
well, I mean, a marauding,
That would be
crazy
cool.
queen.
Oh, well, I'm
it's-
guessing not.
it's-
Because he just said that. He'd be
A marauding, crazy queen would be a story fit for a tale, but tales
Damn it,
sometimes
yeah.
have kernels of truth, and I think it would be an interesting
Oh, he's ready to get
point.
down.
I think it would be an
I
interesting
only
point
think that
to discover that.
if
The Mad Queen, they could call her. I can write a children's book.
if
No,
the
I'm
Duke-
going to check out a ship under the water.
If the Duke is correct, and this is a very deep rabbit hole with twists and turns and plots upon plots. I mean, if she fled, promising Lorraine a favorable treaty, that would just get her back in power.
Or assuming, because she was the rightful heir, as Kellington told us, if she's the rightful heir, she may have made a power play. I have the hardest time consolidating the idea of someone running towards their assassins. I've had several people and things try to kill me, and it is never.
And that's all I mean, is if she knew that it wasn't them.
And that's another possibility. I think this trip to the
Well,
ship
would she
will.
talk to her brother by now? Get him on her side?
Perhaps, but
Or maybe she didn't want him
Involved.
in
I
the
have a
spotlight.
fucked up theory that maybe, what if like
it's the
he,
same character out there.
out of character, what if he like got his sister back and then like sent us like, he was like doing weird experiments on her and shit, and he like sent us like, oh guys, go find her.
Just to continue sowing like seeds of discord and shit like that.
Yeah, or like, I don't know, like the
Yeah, but
double
why would
madness
they
thing.
make sure to
Like
say-
maybe she did go mad and he's like, I'm gonna get rid of her.
I like that idea, but I don't think we're high enough profile to fuck with yet.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the old team, absolutely.
Yeah.
The old 15 years ago crew.
Oh yeah,
I
and we would have bought it
100%.
too. Hook,
Yeah.
line,
Oh
and
yeah,
sinker.
hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
We were out in the middle of the
God.
ocean with like drop lines going. There's a corpse down here somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, I'm really
With your fucking divining rods.
Yeah, right?
I really
He said
No,
we
it's
should
a
find
good
her.
guy. No, it's the greatest guy. Well, anyway.
I only doubt that because
broken.
I don't think we're important enough
Yeah.
to merit that.
No.
Level
Like
of
I could
deception.
see him doing it to a
But
group
we were
of
sniffing
nobles.
around.
So if we run into a friendly group of nobles that are running the same quest, then maybe there's something fishy there. But
When do
Yeah.
we want to try to go after that temple? I don't know. That's
eventually,
I imagine within the next few days we'll have at least either a lead or we'll determine.
yeah, we may need to take a break from the intrigue in order to go punch some more people in the face or whatever that's in the temple.
Oh yeah, did anybody hear more about that?
No,
Under the sea.
Somebody asked.
I heard.
it's shaped like a gazebo, whatever
Yeah,
that
I heard
is.
nothing of any substance. It was
I've heard-
quite literally, it could look like this or that. It could be for this
I
or
heard a
that.
pretty definitive gazebo answer. Do you know what it
I've
is?
heard
I heard
tales.
gazebo, yes,
Yeah,
they're terrifying.
yeah.
Thunder-
They're like a monster.
But
I just want to reach my bag and touch the shell.
Yep, there.
but I couldn't get anything conclusive. I spent the entire morning nice.
I was doing a history check because he
Nice.
knows that I got natural.
But I spent the entire morning at the docks, imploring people, but people don't talk to me, even when I talk at them. But I could not get any definitive
Well-
information and no first-hand knowledge.
It seems like the average citizen has the same narrative, the same flow of information, so we need a new flow of information.
Well, half these people on your guard don't even know how to write or read.
This is also true.
Fair.
Even the Navy?
Noblesse would be more likely.
Okay. So
His letters
we
are
have a
still-
plan. You want to go to the ship though? Should we go to the ship with him?
No. Can you breathe underwater?
We
He
can
just
see
needs to
if
go
he
to
does.
the ship.
I mean, yeah, sure. If you want to come down.
I don't know.
It's not illegal to swim in the bay.
I mean, I'm just gonna fall off the dock,
Yeah.
and then not come back up.
What if
Try
we
not to
eat
be
some?
seen. Oh, is that the point of contention?
It'll create questions. Why did that strange spirit creature just walk off the dock and drown itself?
Fair point. I had not considered. I will do my best to be sneaky.
Maybe I think he's trying to live his life.
Or maybe they think he's a new fishing lure.
I've had it all.
Yeah.
All questions that I don't have an answer to.
So,
then
but-
we shall pursue guard.
Are we? We're not gonna.
Watch out for octopi.
Octopi.
They have beaks.
How's he see?
Beaks.
How's he see?
Like a bird?
Like what?
Oh,
that's right.
The
Velvet
head
goes underwater.
shines underwater.
I
Yeah.
don't have to show that. Okay.
I'm working on
Go
it.
to the guard. I will come too.
Goodbye. And I'll
Stay
walk
safe.
off to the port.
Is this a bad time to bring up the Beast of the Elaborate Bay?
We'll
All of
all
it.
stick together.
The beast of Pirates Bay.
Oh, there's the one
Weary
named, which
traveler,
is a horrible stone
have a
monster.
tale to tell. It might just save your lives, but only if you listen well.
Let us.
There before
Let
the
him
parade
take the lead on this.
goes around the
We
way.
have group names. We have
There's a
like
sign
No.
says beware the beast of
that drunk guy just singing the streets. I thought we were out of
don't you row and don't you say it, but don't just
Swim.
Was there anybody inside the bar?
Huh, there was two people.
I'm
There was
gonna
two
open
other
the
people.
door.
They're like drunkenly just like talking back and forth. Balls early in the morning.
Their song is haunted.
There's a
Yeah.
bard on a twisted
Where was that song? It's the ghost song of the
It's
dancing
a
kid.
bard on a roof somewhere.
Oh, where you at?
Down at the bottom of the sea. Turned to my first officer and I said,
Okay, so we're all gonna go to the constable.
to
You
the
know,
constable.
I saw the note where it said
It's
like
to be
Mayor
here.
Cavill is now the person.
Oh hey, look, you took that note and everything.
Yeah.
Appointed as a new advisor. Yeah, look at that shit.
Okay.
So we're gonna follow Tam as he pursues the girl.
You said you knew Captain Port?
Yes, of the mercantile
I
district.
have no idea where I'm going.
Oh. Well then,
You set him up for failure.
I did no such thing.
All right, so we're gonna go to Galus.
Fair enough. Let's go see if we can get a hold of Captain.
Galus. Okay.
As you you head back out towards, because the closest place where you know their guards are, there's 4 guards at the gate. What's up?
Before we split, do we want to check in on that one chick
Who?
from the ball, the one that was involved with Caleb? Do you want to see if she's still in town?
I mean- She went with the Duke Cornets or Seville? They're the same person.
Same person.
And they were with him, right?
She was hanging out with his retainer.
That's right.
Veer.
Veer.
Yes. So I mean, if you wanted, you could ask someone if he's dead yet. But I have not heard of any new exploding people, so I'm less concerned.
We'll see if she's still in town or if she left.
I mean, it's
Do we
been
know her anymore?
it's been a month and nobody's exploded. I want to remind you that 27 days, 28 if you count travel back.
We would.
I mean, it would have been on everybody's tongue.
Plus the 2
The
days.
city exploded.
Do we want to see if there's any way to check in with Beryl at all?
Oh, you know what? That's a really good plan. And you've got our hammer, so maybe you should look into that. Goodbye. And then I'm leaving to the port.
You could try a mail system.
Okay. Well, I told her to contact me, but I wonder if there's any way, like only that one.
It's only been like 2 days, by the way, just out of character.
We were
since-
in town for 2 weeks, remember?
No, you were in town for 1 week,
Yeah.
and then you left, and now
Yeah.
you've only
So
been
it's
here
only
for
been a
1
week,
day.
and I
So it's
don't
been
know.
8 days out of an 18-day journey back to
Okay.
Gromber.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
That's. I thought it was
yeah.
way longer.
We also
I
have
know.
trucks and planes to deliver mail.
Yeah,
Okay.
they got pigeons.
You just or somebody's message.
Just some guy on a
Common.
horse.
I'm not saying it's likely. I'm just saying if we could get Tiresias to focus for like 10 seconds.
He's even in the city. What?
What?
Alright.
No.
Who?
Needless.
Galus.
Commander
To
Galus.
the ship.
So you head to the porch, and
Right now.
porch.
The porch.
That's not what I wanted to say at all.
We're
Theta heads to the porch and just hangs out.
Leave us alone, porch man!
So you head to the port district, and the 3 of you head out towards the patricians gate, where you see the 4 guards that you actually interacted with in order to get into the patricians district, and those are the closest guards you would know of to interact with. And on the opposite side, so the patricians gate divides patricians district from the market district. To the left is where the guard shack is, where like the guard little office is.
We'll proceed, and I'll try to make contact with the market district guards.
Okay, so you just cross the threshold and talk to those guys. Okay, what are you asking them?
Gentlemen, Maul, do you happen to know where Commander Galus is right now?
Yes.
Could we perhaps get an audience with him? If he's not busy.
He is currently in the market district,
Oh,
walking,
Oh, okay.
checking on people.
Can you point the way you
Last known direction of travel? That way. He just points right down Monolith Street. He's like, that way.
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah.
What does it look like?
And I don't
Tall,
Listen to
handsome,
the sound
bearded.
of paper.
Tall, salt, pepper, brown, longish hair.
Does he wear a
He
helmet?
cut beard, salt and pepper hair.
Usually carries it with him.
6'2". That's what I meant.
Perfect. We have a picture of this man
Yeah.
sitting in a helmet.
Yeah.
It's like the 4 wise men. You know?
I don't know if you prefer to wear one or not.
For blind.
I happen to have an extra one.
You know the one? I'll tell you after street.
You know, you usually have to special order those things.
Yeah, I don't know if they give you a picture.
It has giant ear slots.
If you're interested.
I don't want a sword to come through here.
Fair enough.
Still playing with that
Oh,
thing?
good. He wasn't sure that it worked. I'm gone anyway.
But
so-
I'm gonna look for a man that's way taller than I am.
Mhm.
Salt and pepper hair, kind of longish. And
All right.
Weird.
You guys meander around. Go ahead and make an investigation check, please.
Are we helping them?
Just make it
Are we?
work in different ways.
That's
Sure.
10.
Each one of you can do it if you want.
Hit the one that will be your demise.
I can see a bunch of
It's
noses.
good. Today's good.
Numbers?
21.
6.
So you're gonna have that. It was a natural 20 or no?
No.
Okay.
19.
You have that very awkward thing where his stealth check, not intentional, but his like meandering, like going around, was a natural 20. And so you're basically doing this thing where like he's like over here somewhere, and you guys are like, all right, we'll go to each thing, and then
Check.
Mechanic question. He's wearing heavy now, right?
yeah.
So would he not get his advantage?
Oh, that's true.
Oh! And I'm real fast.
No, he would not be.
Fair enough.
Spots.
It's just one of those things where it's going to take longer than
I
you
got you.
anticipate. It doesn't prevent you from interacting with him. It just means that like you're kind of doing that awkward thing where like
Yeah.
you don't know that you guys are both walking the same direction kind of thing. So you're like, oh yeah, we're just doing our rounds, and man, we have not seen him yet. Like that's basically what's happening.
I'm distracted
I
by
love
my list and just like look around, look at the stores.
cool.
Yeah, look at the people.
Okay.
Especially after Dalaran.
So yeah, so
Yeah.
Theta, you exit out into the market district
Yes.
because the patricians district does not go to the port. So you exit out that way, and then you take a left. Then you realize you kind of encounter the outside of the port district. Kind of has like a long wall with no way through it, and then when you finally find the hole, you realize that you're right next to what they call like the bazaar district, which is actually just like a
Oh, I remember where the stick was.
yeah, it's a fenced off section of the port, and then
I'll take a quick browse at that as I go past because the bazaars are interesting, random things. I don't see if there's anything really out of the ordinary that sticks out.
you can buy cattle there.
Huh?
You can buy cattle there.
No,
Pretty
it's
out of
just
the
cattle.
pretty out of the ordinary. Tapestries. You buy stuff like that.
Right.
Fruits, weird fruits from all over.
That's what I mean. Is like if somebody had like an odd animal or a very peculiar looking fruit or something like that, I want to be like, what?
They actually do. They would
Yeah.
have. Yeah, it's where people from all over bring their stuff. So there's like fruits from other countries that are still there.
I'll browse some of the fruit as I go past.
Just find some weird like dragon fruit type shit.
Yeah.
Like
I'll buy one of those things.
I don't know why you'd smack yourself in your eye, but whatever. What is this?
It's sharp.
You buy one of
It's a
those,
sharp
it'll
fruit.
probably run you like a silver.
Okay, perfect.
We'll say you
Yeah.
pick up a dragon fruit on your way by because you stop and you're just like, what?
And then I'm gonna enchant myself with like very carefully like first I'll like cut a chunk off of it with one of my little knives. Like look at it, and so it's
Is it a
dragon
legit
fruit.
dragon?
Huh?
Is it a legit dragon?
Yeah,
Sure.
that's what it is.
Does it
So,
glow fire?
so white, it's white flesh on the
I know
inside.
that
You squeeze it and it goes.
Yeah.
So like, I'll cut the end off of it,
Definitely
see
burns to get
the
it.
difference inside,
Done.
and then like try the piece I had, just take a bite like it's an apple, and
I
just
bought
gross.
one
And so
in
I'll try the inside, and go, oh, and then I'll go out to the port, sit down on the dock, and just very carefully start peeling this fucker like it's a kiwi.
I'm going to the restroom real quick. You guys talk
I'm
amongst yourselves.
sorry, you got so far on your journey today.
Where is Gamus? It's a bright pink fruit with green leaves on it.
No.
I've
Yeah.
Never seen this shit.
I bought one, and so I'm like, I'm gonna try a new fruit.
Fucking they taste like nothing. They taste like water.
Like a kiwi.
Slightly
No.
sweet. No, kiwi actually has a flavor that makes your mouth itch.
Oh, like a star fruit? Makes your mouth itch? Are you allergic?
Kiwis? Yeah, it's like super acidic, like a pineapple.
I've had the Haichu kiwi.
It
It
has-
tastes like shit.
It has the same enzyme as pineapple
breaks
does that
stuff
eats you
down.
back.
Yeah, but like,
Kiwis have it too.
but it's
I
not,
mean,
I don't know, but it's not
I can fairly say I've never eaten one kiwi
What do you mean?
in my life. I haven't like gotten a kiwi and
I
peeled
have.
it and gone,
I've
oh
had it
that's
for breakfast
no.
before.
Yeah, no, but I have like 4 of them.
Or just
Or
shove in your
6
house.
of them.
Oh, at a
No, when
time?
I eat them, yeah.
Oh,
Not one
okay.
kiwi. That's like eating one sunflower
I
seed. It's a
thought-
waste of everyone's time.
I thought you were saying
Like,
you
do
never,
like
like,
half a bag a day.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying like you bought them but never eaten them, and I was like, what?
Yeah, just decorative
Um,
kiwis. Don't you have decorative kiwis in your house?
Yeah, it's called rotten fruit because they sit there and rot.
Oh, word. There you go. You got a dog on stream. So that,
Oh,
don't look at me offended like
what's
that.
his character's name?
Roll for stats.
Staff of bird calls.
But the only reason the staff of bird calls exists is
It's
because
a
your
dog
chocobo
with a-
sound went off
It's
when
a
you were in
dog
the
with a staff
bathroom.
of whining.
No. It's my staff of bird calls.
Yes, yeah. But like the bird sound. Oh no! Okay, just as he was getting down. Did yours capture it?
Nope. I got an ear.
Should have gone up.
Oh, not bad.
I got an ear.
Oh man, it's so good.
Also.
What was that?
That was me.
Oh my. What was that? Did
That's
you eat a
me.
microphone?
I can't whistle, but I could fucking make a weird.
Whoa, is
fucking
that like a.
sound. Yawn.
Or is that one?
That's a panorama, yeah. We were spreading baby powder on the stage. This is me after spreading baby powder. I cleaned off one shoe because of how messy they were.
I realized after that, I'm like, that doesn't give him a good, like, because my finger is, like, further out. So I'm like, I don't know if that gives him a good.
Oh no, it's more than enough. You took a picture of the thing. That's exactly what I was looking for. Look at cutting wires. Don't try to cut coat hangers or lampshade wires with your traditional wire cutters. You will ruin them.
I would have done that.
I know you would have. That's why you didn't get to have my nice stainless.
So we don't want a boat? For sure?
We don't
In
want to go.
Canada? Yeah.
I mean, I don't think we want to
I mean,
vote. That was just a
Didn't
that's
you
an
guys
offensive
almost
dish.
get eaten by a boat?
Yes.
But that wasn't our boat.
Traumatic.
Look,
Traumatic boat
I
experience.
would rather pay to be ferried than
Yeah, but
buy
it's such a
one.
pain in the ass. Like, we could have one whenever. We could go wherever.
House.
And we can chill
Sell
on
it.
it, get used to boats again, get be friends with
Or
Talking about buying a boat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't you just ride your birds?
I
Oh
guess.
yeah. You have a
But
griffin.
I guess we all could ride on it now, huh?
but
Very
beyond-
sad dog.
Why do you cry so much?
I
Because
feel
life
like
is hard.
It's
Okay.
a magical incline. Fly through the sky or something.
That's true, I forgot it was fun.
So you eat your dragon fruit,
We
and
can
then
swallow
you.
Carefully peel the entire thing so I have a weird looking egg.
to the temple.
A black and white egg.
I don't know where we're going.
I don't know.
That's that's
Yeah.
my ship. You want the land?
It's delightful. And then you slink into the water.
I'm gonna find a nice quiet corner somewhere. I'll stealth and then attempt to very quietly get myself down.
What's your stealth modifier? 8.
My stealth modifier is 10, my friend.
Yeah, you're good. Without a problem. You kind of meander around. You find like a little secluded area where like some of those stacked boxes are blocking your path, and you just all the way down. Go very slowly in, so you don't disturb too much, and it ripples. And you find yourself
I'm
under the sea.
gonna go in. So I imagine there's a decent amount of water because it's probably relatively shallow-ish here. And so I'll go until the gloom starts to fade in, and I'll pull out, delve in, and look light.
Have a little. Okay, fair enough. So you head
and
under.
I'm also going to ask Belvin, because I assume he can hear me under the water. If he can't, it's also hilarious. What he knows about Alavra, Vitella's Bay.
Hell yeah.
Under the water, he won't be able to regale you with anything.
Oh, really?
It's just gonna be.
Oh, so he actually physically speaks, even though only the person holding can hear him?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's an actual
That's,
mouth.
no, that's good to know. I've learned something today. I'm fine with that.
So you head under and start your journey. You guys meander around for way longer than you intended, and eventually you have to go back and go like, which way did he kind of go? And they're like, well, he just passed a minute ago. Like he was going that way. So then you, like thinking quickly, go to like kind of move around to like intercept him instead of just like following him, basically. But ultimately, you do find him kind of towards the. Towards the
Don't do that.
like closer towards like one of the housing districts, like where Ciliana moved into. You find him kind of like walking around that way, and he's like walking with another guard, and he's like talking, and he's checking the wall a little bit. And as you round the corner, he kind of looks, and then he nods, and then he's like, "Oh, hello,
Sir.
yes. What can I do for you?"
Good question. Well, our friend here, Ken, has some questions, and I would like to know if you have some time. If want, we can walk with you if you'd like.
Yes, please.
I am writing a book about local history for Alavra.
Okay.
And I heard that there was a assassination 15 years ago.
Yes, unfortunately there was.
And I heard one of your high constable retired afterwards. And I was wondering if I could speak with him or if anybody knew if he lived in town still, if I could get his account on the events.
High Constable Gravon?
did not know that was his name. I had been speaking with sailors last night. That's the most they told me.
Oh, I forgot.
Yes, the previous. Well, unfortunately, High Constable Graven died about 10 years back.
Fuck.
He was an older gentleman, and after his retirement, yes, it was quite terrible.
Sorry.
After his
I'm
retirement,
shocked.
he did pass. They found him in his home, unfortunately, but he did die. He is survived by his children, who I'm not sure if they still live in the city. I haven't seen them in years. However, if you're looking for that, the best person to speak to would be the current High Constable. Sir Cavill would be the...
Cowboys.
Yes, the current High Constable took over, I mean, almost immediately after those events, I think maybe a couple months later. He was appointed in the place of, and Sir Graven retired from his post. He felt shame for allowing it to happen under his watch, so he retired stepped down out of respect for the deceased, those that we lost during that time frame.
It's understandable.
But yeah, he was older. He was getting on in age when he stepped down, so I'm surprised he lasted as long as he did. He was quite old.
Very, very quiet, like 2 week mall sailing. I'm his ghost. Talk to Ben. Is that an option?
Sorry, we'll wait a little bit.
He didn't learn that, so he didn't teach me.
I appreciate your time. Do you happen to know anybody else that would have, like anybody that worked in the castle or just around during the incidents?
Yes, there are a number of guards that still are working that work in the castle area. Some have been rotated out. Some are in the slums district now. Some reside in my district. Some reside, but as far as your, a lot of them actually died during the fighting, which is why they were replaced. The ones that didn't die, most of them either stepped down or swapped districts, because, again, they were viewed as unfortunate failures.
Do you have any that swapped that would be willing to talk about it?
Willing to talk about it is a whole different thing, and I'm not sure if I'm exactly comfortable giving out the names of people who feel like they
Understandable.
failed our system.
So who, aside from them, would be the absolute best people to talk to about like what went down that day?
What went down that day? I worked. I was fighting there as well.
Oh. Like what? Like were you there from the beginning to the fighting, or
Yes.
what were you doing at the time?
I was still guard of this district. We were called to support the Noble District during the assassination attempt, and then we were part of the, myself and pretty much all of us guards were parts of the groups that went house to house and checked every home for basically people holding up in those areas.
I admit this is probably one of the weirdest quests we've taken, but Tim is a historical researcher, and we've learned so much about Patella in the few short days that we've known him.
Well, I'm glad I could be of assistance, but yes, we did participate in the fighting for the entire time we were there. Well, the entire time it happened.
Apologize if you lost any friends in the fighting.
We did lose quite a bit of people. It was a small fighting force that the Lorin army sent, and they were quite capable. It's understandable why they only sent. If they were that adept with such a small force, I'm remiss to think what would have occurred if they had brought a bigger one. But I guess it's lucky that we only had as many as we did. And ultimately, sinking their ship was the only way that they started running into houses and holding up and trying to hold families hostage. And then with the support of the current King Noah and his magics, we were able to oust the rest of them from...
Because we're trying to get like the most accurate historical perspective, we keep hearing rumors that like there might have been like people dressed as Loren people that were like like they weren't really Lorraine citizens that like were attempting assassination and stuff. Like, have you heard anything like that? Or like,
I mean, the ones that I grabbed were all in Loren standards.
you know,
Yeah, it's uniforms and standards like that are hard to fake unless you have intimate knowledge about it.
Or get it from the source.
Thank you for your time.
No problem. You guys have fun, and I will continue my rounds.
Whenever you get a chance, I'd love to have a drink with you.
Certainly. I prefer to drink at the Dancing Candle, though. It's kind of quieter than.
we were just there.
So it's a nice establishment. It's a shame that they
Yeah.
might go out of business.
What? Oh.
They don't get a lot of traffic, and besides for us, we can't.
That's exciting.
Besides for us guards and the few nobility that go in there, we most of the nobles in that district are trying to oust it.
Well, perhaps tonight then.
Sure, if you guys are available, I can swing by. Sure,
Absolutely.
I might have to check in with the wife before I
Of
do.
course.
Who's your wife?
We met her. Wow.
Meet her. Oh yes.
Mrs. Galis?
Obviously, she doesn't have a
Miss Commander Gatus.
Hey, whoa. I imagine she's a classy lady. She's not one of those depend upon. This is like, my husband's a major.
I think you actually met her.
I
You
did.
and
I
Theta
saved her
both.
by accident.
Yeah, you and Theta both met her.
His
name.
wife. Took an eye on him.
Amara.
Yeah.
His wife Amara.
Amaria.
Mm-hmm.
What's she look like?
She is very attractive. She is deceptively young looking. She has light colored skin and very long brown hair. She usually dresses pretty nicely. She does look younger than he does. Not by a considerable amount. Yeah.
But by enough.
By enough where, you know.
She's deceptively young looking. She's like one of those wives that looks younger than she is. Huh? Not that you know.
I mean, I
Not asking.
You did see her.
I did see her.
And she,
Yeah.
she
Also,
was not.
all humans look alike. I've said this before. It's ridiculous.
She was a human,
How
yeah.
much you just
Do elves look
flip
like
the contrast
humans
knob a little bit, and that's it.
to you? Do elves look like humans to you? What affects you? I don't care. You're not sitting there saying this in the ocean. I mean, come on.
Maybe I am. Maybe I'm having a
Internal
pretend
monologue.
conversation. You ever have those fights in the showers? You can always win them. That's what I'm doing because I'm walking under the bay. And then I say, "No, you go back to prison."
He's practicing his line under
Alright.
water.
Yeah.
The fish is just like,
Trying to whistle underwater.
Oh yeah. Alright. So what do we
Just like
want to do
constantly
now?
So you guys finish up your conversation.
we break, pull to the side.
Okay.
Make sure he's out of earshot. Alright, Tim. Really?
We're not going to get much information from the guards. Also, it's pretty suspicious to ask these constant questions, and they keep trying. So
Yeah.
Alright.
it's better to just.
To me, I don't know. It seems kind of suspicious that he died 5 years after. I mean, even if he was old.
10 years?
But he died 10 years ago.
The assassination attempt was 15 years ago.
Yeah.
That's right.
He died 10 years ago.
Depending on the area, he could have gotten the flu and died. Depending on how old he is. There's a lot of things up in the air.
I
But
hate to dump it on you, but I have no expertise in this.
most of my training is finding people. Not really finding about them. Just finding people with talent and capturing them.
Fantastic.
What do you mean by talent?
It depends. Like they could be talented with
Their hands.
like stealing.
With a hand
And then you
job?
bring them to jail. Get money.
Oh, like vampire? I like that. That's some people with talent. Very noble type.
Talented with their hands.
Good challenge.
Okay, what are you guys doing?
Alright, so we did the guard thing. We want to try to find, next we try to find a men's physician.
Well, beyond that, like Tam said, if we're seen around town all day today asking the same
We're asking
questions.
about the book.
Yeah,
Good.
but
We have a legitimate front.
But if
That's okay.
people start hearing this, they're gonna clam up.
But isn't, wouldn't the physician be like completely like
tentatively, but worth some
I
travel.
mean, I think everywhere we're going today is like, they don't cost at all.
And also, Queen would probably go to somebody with clerical powers, more so than a regular
Isn't there
physician like
Yeah.
the slums.
We checked into that, didn't we? When we first we went to some physician about Benadryl, and then we went to House Delirium. Who did we check with first? Father checked
No,
with?
with Nodril, he was already.
Yeah, but we were like, hey, who did we go see? And one guy was like, hey, I can't help you.
Recall that happening. I recall being at Nodril's house, and they allowed us a chance to go clear things with the Maidens of Madness. I don't recall a physical doctor being there though. What's the Delil house called for? Regardless, I think neither one of us has any real proficiency with this kind of thing. And if Tam thinks we should hold out for at least the rest of the day or maybe even tomorrow, then I think we should default to that.
And we could check with the people underground.
Yeah.
Make a history check. Boop, boop. Two of you, make history checks.
Who's gonna betray me now? The leptos. We betrayed me again. History?
Yes.
6.
Mr. Moa?
5.
5. You do remember that there is a physician in town, but it's not very popular, as there's only one, and it's in the slums.
I didn't remember that.
Also, longsword, does that add 1 to the damage as well?
+1 longsword? Yes.
Thank you.
It's 1 to attack and damage rolls.
That's what I thought, I just wasn't certain.
The right camera is going fucking nuts.
What do you
Spooky
like?
cam.
It's flickering and shit. I'm so sorry, ladies and
Oh,
gentlemen.
like the thing I was doing before.
Yeah, it's just being a pain. I think that cable's going out too. That's shielded. The one that I got's pretty nice for this item. Seems to be working pretty well. So, you do remember that there is a physician. It is in the slums district, but he does not get a lot of work because this town relies pretty much solely on magic for healing.
Yeah.
And people don't really value that. Whereas like places like Jormungandr and Sanmania would have attending physicians for a lot of things. Alavra seems spoiled in the way that they don't really. It's almost like, oh, why would I need that? You know, I can just go buy a potion or something like
Can
that.
you even go bother with that? I mean, would somebody try to cure madness for a high person?
Well, we could ask them for their professional opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get in a direction.
What if they wanted to cure mad though? Why would they cure it? What's the point?
And then more point to go ask the church of
Yeah.
batshit crazy people.
The way it's going, Lou, is if we talk to him and he gives us an answer, awesome. If we talk to him and we find out that it's particularly
I imagine
shady,
we're walking toward this district. We're not just
Heading towards the slums.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
if like I said earlier, if we get there and it turns out, oh, I have records from 20 years ago, but that day is all gone, well then it's kind of obvious that it's very shady. Or if we get there and they're like, oh yes, he worked here until 15 years ago, and then he was mysteriously killed. You
Right.
see.
Yeah.
And if we get there and we have a solid answer,
I'm not saying let's not go. We're obviously going. I'm just like,
yeah, if they wanted to keep somebody crazy, there'd be a trail.
why would there be a trail if they never went walk?
They'd have to, you know what I mean? There would be a trail of them either going or not. And if they didn't go, then there would be a reason why.
So documentation.
Yes. Documentation. This is all in place.
Alright. Well, sure. To the slums.
All right, you guys are going to try to find the physician.
The physician.
The physician.
Yeah.
All right. And Mr. Theta, as you meander through the open waters, getting progressively darker and following along, eventually you're going to have to jump like off a shelf and
Did I see
sink.
fish?
Yeah.
Like good fishing fish, or just like wandering scavengers?
No, like wandering.
Like a redfish, a bluefish.
One fish, two
Maybe
fish.
1 or 2 of them.
Yeah. Singular or plural of fishes. But you eventually, probably about a good like 500-600 feet off the actual coastline, you actually find a shelf that goes straight down that opens up into the greater, much larger sea.
I'll take a big breath of water. I'll leap off that shelf.
Okay. And that is where
I'm
we're
not
at.
gonna leap hard.
We're
I'm
gonna
gonna leap
stop
to the
there?
edge so I can like drag my feet so
Okay.
down the side, so I'm not just plummeting to the abyssal death at a way too.
That is where we're going to call it
Rock
today.
bottom is what they called it in SpongeBob.
Yeah. I didn't like that place.
All right, so that is it for us today. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. We are Audi 5000. So we will be back next Monday, faux show
You doing talk
with
back?
no, not today.
Oh, okay.
For Monster Hunter Monday, and then we shall return next Tuesday for the continuation of this campaign. So I hope you guys had fun. We'll be in chat for a little bit while we do Teardown.
Yeah, before you cancel it, I'm just gonna tell Tiff a story. I want to keep it in the
Oh
pod.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yes. So if you've never heard it, there's the tale of the I think it's 4 blind men. There might be 3 blind men and an elephant, and so all of them get together, and so they're blind men, and they touch the elephant,